Good evening and salutations, my soap opera fans. So, question of the night. Is Belle a massive hypocrite for not forgiving Shawn on Days of Our Lives? She's actually racked up quite the body count, to be honest. Okay. And even though today she was there trying to split hairs and pretty much bob and weave when it comes towards accountability, which annoyed the just let's just put it this way, it annoyed me greatly. Oh, thank you, Spiderquake. Thank you, my guy. Appreciate that. Let's change that real quick. Melly Mel's in the chat. What's good, Mel? I'm glad you caught that, my guy. Glad you caught that. Yes, and let's put it up there. Spiderquake, what's good, Spiderquake? Melly Mel, my horror queen, is in the chat. And yes, and of course, Mel, I'm actually going to be watching that. Well, maybe try it later on tonight. Hopefully tomorrow before I go to work. But yeah, she literally racked up the body count like there was no tomorrow. And she has the audacity to sit there and say to Shawn, I don't forgive you. Are you effing kidding me? Lady, first of all, F your feelings, okay? Because, are you kidding me? You literally cheated, but you want to sit there and say, oh, you threw it in my face. Sweetheart, you cheated on this guy multiple times. Let's not sit there and try to act like this is, like, no. Duan is in the chat. Kais is in the chat. Joyce is in the chat. Laura B is in the chat. As we are coming in, make sure that you do hit the like button because it really does actually help out. It keeps me in the algorithm. Like it seriously does. Like when people look for my videos, I'm already there. And exactly. Let's welcome let's welcome Kyson in the chat. Swipe quick said this dude raved unprepared and had no handcuffs. Now he's yeah, that's actually very true, Spike Rig. It's actually very true. Marlena was just completely out of pocket today. I wouldn't go that far, but she's up there, Spike Rig. She's up there. And now we have something to talk about. Yep, that's right. We got something to talk about with Melly Mel. The Kyson says Belle has a right to be upset for a while. Okay, explain to me how. I'm not going to sit there and judge you. I'm just, very curious from your opinion. And Makai is in the chat. How you doing tonight, Makai? And I love this question. Despite course like Jason and Kim and Susan all chained up, and Jason's gonna tell every villain you gotta get to me first. And for the uninitiated, for the people that just watch Days, Harrison used to be a guy named Jason on General Hospital, and same thing with Ava. She used to be Carly on General Hospital. So for the GH fans, we're just looking at this like this is just Jason and Carly in another adventure. For the quote unquote uninitiated. But yes, as always, we do sit there and talk about all the shows, YNR, GH, Days, and B&B. Of course, GH didn't actually have anything because they decided to put on a baseball game. So Earthquake says, I'm not even calling her Carly, calling her Kim. Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. Yeah, I did peep that spike quick. I guess sometimes I do that. Tyson said forgiveness didn't come for Belle overnight. It takes time. Shawn was mad, then he forgave her. Now she's going to be mad, then later forgive him if they recast the role, of course. I can see that point of view. Um, I'm just, for me personally, I'm just like effort feelings. Um, Body count was just way too high. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Kyson. You got a good point. Dolly's in the chat was good, Dolly. Melly Mel is funny when Ava said, I know this lame. Yeah, yeah. So tonight we're gonna be sitting there also. A couple of little things. Tonight I'm only gonna be sitting there streaming for an hour and a half. Because I do want to wake up tomorrow early to kind of watch Days of Our Lives so I can do a review on that. Um but you know how it is with these conversations. It just starts going and you know. Let's make sure. Yes, we are, Lorby. Yes, we are. We are doing a call in tonight. Yes. So I'm going to. I just want to make sure the audio is actually good before I start to set everything up. Yes. So if anyone will sit there and come through, um, do the video calls, we're going to be sitting there getting that going, getting that popping. Everyone will sit there and come through. Okay, cool. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's up the way. Spy Quick says, I think Talia looks better than Jada. Okay, well, that's your opinion. I mean, I like them both, looks wise. Lashanta's in the chat. What's good, Lashanta? Monique says, Bella thing is I can fool around on you, but you can't. Exactly. Like, we ain't doing that. Is exactly. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. That'd be interesting, though. That'd be interesting. Let's see if I can actually do a test something. See if it actually lets me do it. Instead of people just trying to find my email address, which, I mean, not hard, but. Nope. Oh, wow. It really does not actually let me pin the comment. Okay. Um, Tyson said on Young the Restless deserved this headache he brought himself. He should just let Adam and Sally work it out. Yeah, see, I'm gonna respectfully agree to disagree with you on that one. I am. I'm gonna respectfully agree to disagree with you on that one because let's pin this message. Let's see if it actually it should pin. Okay, so I got it in the pin comment. So if you want to sit there and come through, yes. Um, I no. Because my whole thing is like this is my issue. Billy says I cringe every time Bella throws up the jam thing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And what's good, Ronnie Ron? Um, and see that's my whole thing. No one bothers to sit there and take Sally, no one bothers to hold Sally accountable for any of this. She literally sits there and plays with both men's feeling, but somehow lets sit there and put it all on Nick. I just, for me, I don't get that. I really don't get that because it's like, and also Sally has a brain. The last time I checked, why are we not sitting there, to sit there and say let them work it out? Okay, well, Sally has a brain. What's good, Jakars? Sally has a brain. We just want to sit there and act like she couldn't have chose Adam if she wanted to. Come on, it's just I see that's my whole thing. Like I can't get past that. Um, Joyce said Sally was all in that. Yeah, she be sitting there playing with people's hearts. It's just I know people like Adam and Sally together, and I guess that's fine. That's your thing. That's cool. Um, Monique says Sally only told the half truth about what happened yesterday. Adam kissed her, but she didn't pull away. Yeah, and that's actually, and thank you, Monique. Yes. And see, that's my whole thing. I know a lot of people don't like Nick, but if you just sit there and look at it from his point, yeah, he has a right to be upset with Adam, right? But my whole thing is he should also be upset with Sally as well. See, this is why I disagree with Nick because it's like, okay, you want to be upset with um what you call it? That's fine, Adam. I get that, but why don't you sit there and put that same smoke for Sally? Nobody sits there and puts Sally accountable for any of this stuff. And then all she says is she throws her hands in the air and says, "I'm confused." And y'all just supposed to be cool with that? Like, y'all cool with that? Because anybody else, if somebody said to you that I'm confused with my feelings, would y'all honestly sit there and stay in that situation? Come on. That's my issue. And yeah, it seems like LaShanta, things are getting a lot worse for um my boy Eric. Oh, okay. All right. Wow. All right. That's interesting, though. Francis, I understand that the truth had to come out, but Jada talked about Shawn cheating on Belle with her sister. Monique says if Sheila is the one making sense, something is wrong. Now, Kyson says because Nick is a jealous hothead who's obsessed with hating his brother, that's why he only blamed Adam. It's convenient. I get that. I get that. But see, but exactly, but this is my whole thing now. So, what do you think? Okay, so Kyson, what do you think about Sally's role in this? This is the question I have for you. What do you think about Sally's role in this? Let's just take Nick up to Let's. What do you think about Sally and her role in this whole thing with the two brothers? What do you think about that? What Shanta said for Nick to tell Adam, stay away from everyone you love, your family, and there is he doesn't treat him like a brother. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Listen, Nick is not exactly truly blameless in the situation either, right? He's not. He should be coming at Sally. That's my issue. Black Mars in the chat, aka Mr. GQ, is in the chat. How are you doing today? Let's see, where are we with the likes? Where are we with the likes? Okay, we got 7 likes. We got 28 people in the chat. If you are enjoying the stream, make sure you hit the like button. It really does help. Cherry Ice Cream is in the chat. What's good, Cherry Ice Cream? And LaShanta, exactly. Sally be playing games. That's my issue. Sally be playing games, but the people that don't like Nick is the first people to sit there and say Nick is the problem. Or Sally is just, yeah, exactly. Because says only on social is where it's cool to get your siblings X. I wish my sister was certain lines must never be crossed. Now Kyson says Sally didn't own Adam anything Nick did. Sally didn't own Adam anything Nick did. He gave his daughter a kidney. Adam was a jerk when he broke up with Sally, but his heart was in the right place. Nick took advantage to split. Okay. Okay. Well, Sally didn't owe. I don't understand. Sally didn't what? Oh, Ron. She put two and two together. Um, Sally didn't owe. He gave his daughter a kidney. Okay, so he gave his daughter a kidney. Yeah. Okay, so I get that. But here's my whole. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna. Okay. Nicole is in the chat. How you doing tonight, Nicole? Let's everyone welcome Nicole. Lashanta says when Nick went in that room after Sally slept with Adam, he got what he deserved. What did he deserve? I just once again it's just the okay. Christopher's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Carson says the way Adam dumped Sally, Sally didn't owe Adam any loyalty after he dumped her. Yeah, okay, and I get that. But my whole thing is, why is Nick responsible for this whole thing? Why does why does Nick actually have to sit there and take a step back when Sally is a grown adult? She clearly wants to. Okay, my whole thing is she clearly wants to be with Adam, right? So why are we still sitting there giving Nick so much smoke when Sally wants to be with Adam? Okay, now she's sitting there playing with both brothers' emotions. That's what I'm saying. Like that's the issue that I have. Um, Lashanta says Leo is a real piece of work. Well, yeah. Um, Monique says when Nick is always Adam's fault, Sally was afraid to tell Nick that Adam kissed her and she didn't pull away. Maybe Nick is right. She feels conflicted because she probably still in love with Adam. Exactly. But no one bothers to sit there and hold Sally accountable. That's my issue. It's always Nick's fault. Nick should have did this. Nick should have stepped back. Adam gave up a kidney. Okay, you gave up a kidney and I get that, right? But I mean, are you doing it because it's the right thing to do, or are you doing it to sit there and get some sort of automatic respect from people? Like if I do something, I'm not doing it to get something. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. That's the thing. Double C says so. Belle slept with 3 men. I think she slept with 2 men. She just did it multiple times, or maybe it was 3. I think so. One says I was laughing so hard when Harrison talked to Grayson says because Nick is Adam's brother, that's why Adam saved Faith's life. That's why Nick is out of line for not stepping back. I feel like I need a drink. I, I feel like tonight was probably not the night to sit there and be sober. Because Nick is Adam's brother, that's why Adam saves Faith's life. Okay. And I get that. But did you say okay, my whole thing is saving somebody's life. But okay, so when you really think about it, Adam saved his niece's life, right? So, did you do that again? Did you do that so you can sit there and get some sort of respect later on in life, or did you do that because it's the right thing to do? Because that's what it generally comes down to. Yeah, but why? Okay, but why are you doing it though? Again, are you doing it out of participation points? Or are you doing it because it's the right thing to do? And you know what? Let's just no. I'm not saying it's not a big deal. Yeah. Okay. Let's just take away. Let's just sit there and take away that part, right? Makai says Adam and Nick are fawning over her. Sally is loving this attention until they both walk away from her tail. And that's my whole thing. That's my whole thing. Why should either brother have to sit there and deal with somebody who has mixed emotions? Like why is that fair to either one of them? You know? And what's good, Danny? I never sat there and said that a kidney is not a big deal. Okay. What I'm Smith is saying is you did it because you want to save your niece's life. Um, People want to sit there and keep saying that, Nick should have stepped back. He should have let them work it out. There was nothing to work out though. That's my whole other thing. Sally did not want to be with Adam because of what Adam said. Okay, it wouldn't have really mattered if Nick was in the picture or not. That's my issue right there. Because then it gets to the point. See, this is where it gets to a point of tunnel vision, right? If it was before the kidney transplant when Adam and Nick both hate each other, then I wouldn't have been mad at Nick like that. Yeah, but see, that's exactly. But I feel like the level of anger that some people have for Nick, it becomes tunnel vision, and everything gets pushed on Nick. Everything, everything gets pushed on Nick. Nick should have stepped back. Nick should have did this. Nick should. What about Sally? No one says anything about Sally, and I think that's where for me personally, that's where it gets to a point of it doesn't really matter because it's always going to be Nick's fault. Sally has no accountability. Nick should just step back because apparently Sally is just clueless and she cannot make up her own mind. So we should just automatically blame Nick. Joy says Adam has his moments of graciousness, but they always turn on him, so he goes back to his dark side. Yep, no, I remember you said that. Yep. Mm-hmm. No, yep. But Asante says Adam was on a run. He didn't have to do it. He begged him to come back. They didn't treat him as a brother until they needed him. Faith wasn't asking it. Well, yeah, okay. I get that. Like Tyson said it and you said the same thing. I'm not I'm not taking that away. But my whole thing is again, apparently, is Sally doesn't have to be accountable for any of it. You know? It's just all right, cool. Let's just sit there and drop the hammer on Nick because it's just more convenient because of a certain level of tunnel vision. But okay. All right. That's fine. Um what else we got? What else we got? Yeah, exactly, and that's my whole thing. She playing with people's emotions and saying that I'm confused. Practically shrugs her shoulders, and it's just everyone else's mess to clean up. What the hell else is going on in the episode? Now I'm wondering about Diane, right? Will Diane sit there and try to undermine Billy? Undermine Billy to get Kyle back as second in command or whatever. Because up until a point, I've been defending a lot of stuff that Diane's done, right? I haven't watched the show as long as other people, so I don't really know all her transgressions and things of that nature. But um, I feel like she wants Kyle back at Jabot so badly that Alicia's in the chat. Was good, Alicia. How are you doing today? But yes, I wonder will she sit there and try to do something to undermine, undermine Billy. Because a lot of people snip there. A lot of people are snip there. Why she? Okay, Darby says it's not Adam's fault that Sally doesn't know what she wants and is always sniffing around Adam when her boyfriend Nick is not around, while he knows how Nick feels about Adam. Yes, and what's good, Darby? What's good, Danny? Monique says it's like when Thomas and Hope is blameless. It was Thomas' fault, even if Hope started it. Oh, Thomas was manipulating her, and Diane mask is slowly coming off. Yeah, it's that's my issue. It's yeah, I guess I could sit there and say that's my issue when it comes towards the whole love triangle between Nick and Adam and Sally because it's like everyone blames Sally for. Everyone blames Nick for everything, but no one bothered to hold Sally accountable, you know? Lashanta says, remember I told you that Albert Kyle is an entire jerk. You left your job. Well, he kind of got kicked out of his position as a child. But Makai says a whole side accountable. However, Nick knows how Adam feels, and her and Nick just want to stick it to Adam. Oh, yeah. Okay. Spike Quick says Albert Days wasn't all that today. I mean, yes, it wasn't all that today. Here's the thing. I always sit there and say Spike Quick. I always feel like, the only other show that I feel like at times can keep up with GH is Days, because there's a lot of times that GH can be really great or GH can be really boring. It can be really good one day, the next day it could feel like filler. At least with Days, it's usually consistent, right? It's usually consistent, even if it's consistently okay or decent. Fly Quick says Albert also on GH main characters is Sunny. What's Days main character? Oof. Well, I know EJ is a main character. EJ is a main character. Um, Damn, that's a really good question. John, Marlena, Stephen, Gabby. Gabby's a main character. Just to name a couple of few. Darby says Adam didn't give his kidney to Faye for Nick's sake. He did it for Faye, who he has history with and kind of owes her some loyalty. Darby says Days is more of an ensemble. Yes, exactly. Lashanta says Albert Kyle was CO with Jack. He left to go to marketing. Okay. Fly Quick says you always give them. No, I know, I do. I do. And Dolly says Days kind of shifts leads right now. I'll say Nicole is lead. Yes, that's very true. It is more of an ensemble cast. Then he says Albert not fan of B&B today. Why? Harrison says even if we did bring some smoke to Sally, that doesn't make Nick any less of a villain in this scenario, in my opinion. Okay. Well, like you said, it's your opinion. So um Goddess Jess is in the chat. Jess, I was actually waiting for you to get into this chat because I was waiting for you to get into this chat tonight because I got an announcement, but it's not even a full announcement. First of all, Jess, this potential video that I may be doing, you inspired me to do this. You inspired me to do this video. I'll sit there and say. So that's first of all. Just inspired me to do this video. Monique says, will Ava find out about how Trip put a hit on them? Ava find out about how Trip put a hit on her. What do you mean Trip put a hit on her? Have a good night, Kyson. Thank you for joining. And Andriana's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Say yes. Yes. Thank you for joining us. And Spot Quick says, why couldn't GH be on another channel? So yes. When Nick says it was nice, you guys over bread. Guys, bread is over. Kyrie's is in the chat. Kyrie's. Just says, I am an inspiration. You are. You are. That's actually very true. It's actually very true. That is very true, Ariana. We totally did. And what's good, Richard? Oh, okay. All right, Monique. And how you doing tonight, Richard? And yes, that's very true. So we're gonna get into it tonight. I know Kyrie's got some smoke for me. Um, I was just pretty much kind of I wouldn't sit there and say facing off, but I was debating with somebody else about the whole Nick, Sally, and Adam situation. He left, and you came in, Kyrie. It's almost like it was a tag team. It's like he tagged you in. He tagged out, he tagged you in. So we're gonna get into it today. Uh well, Double C, I know tomorrow's not gonna be a new episode of GH. Tomorrow's not gonna be a new episode of GH. But yes. So okay. Ambassador Sam is in the chat. What's good, Ambassador Sam? Danny says start doing a video tomorrow about Victor versus Eric video short video. Yeah. Well, Danny, I would sit there and say this. Just put out maybe one short or two. Don't put out too many shorts in one day. Yep, that's right, Jess. And Kyrie said yes. So I know I saw your comment. I saw your comment. And I stopped there. Here's the thing. I was gonna say something about I was like, you know what? We'll sit there and talk about this tonight. Well, I was tipsy, so I was tired like crazy yesterday. Yeah, I was tipsy. So not this month. Harry says, "What you got to say?" Oh, okay, we about to get into it. But I do got an announcement, but it's not really an announcement because okay. So Jess inspired me to do a video that I might do not this month, but hopefully maybe next month. And on top of that, I can't sit there and say what the video is, but I can sit there and say that maybe Jess might be in this video. Okay, Jess may or may not be in this video. Oh, I love the way that Jess talks to me. I love the way she talks to me. But yes, it's not next month. I mean, not this month, but hopefully, maybe towards the end of next month, I may be doing a live stream, and Jess may or may not be a part of it. But I can't say what it is because I still got to do some research on it. Kind of make sure everything is like feasible. But everything works out. It's gonna be one hell of a video. Sit there and say that much. Now I will sit there and just says I'm gonna be in it. LOL. This is news. I know, crazy, right? Nicole says I love how Sonny told Gladys to shut up yesterday. Yeah, it took him so long to do it towards the end though. Yes. And also, like I said, welcome Nicole. Welcome Nicole. She is new to the chat, so definitely welcome her. That's how okay. But yes, so I'm going to be maybe doing a live stream next month, and Jess may or may not be in it. If it works out, it's gonna be a good video. So Solomon says, "Good evening, folks. I return once again. LOL. Anyway, I got back into watching the soaps, and I see May back on YNR. What do you guys think of that?" Okay. Yeah, that's just says well you gotta let me know the deeds if I'm gonna be oh no I will. No, I definitely will. I will tell you first and then I'll tell the members and then I'll tell everyone else. So yes. It was weird because I thought about it today. I was like, I think that's a good idea. So yes. I'm actually kind of excited for it if it actually does work out. And Jess was actually inspiration. Belle says, I can't wait for the confrontation between Rex and Xander on Xander telling Rex, you will, yeah. But yes, Carrie, since you, you say we can't have an adult conversation with Spike right here unless permission is given. She's just messing with you, Spider Quake. Just that you hyping it up, it better be good. Actually, it will be good. It will be good. Here's the thing. I wish I can do the video this month. I wish I could do the video this month, but I think there's going to be some things that's going to prevent that. So next month is going to be the better one. And you know I can't sit and at this point now the pressure's on because I can't sit there and disappoint Jess. So yes, Kyrie. Okay, so we're gonna get to you because Kyson tagged out and now you tagged in. So yeah, my okay. Here's my whole thing. I understand where Nick is coming from. I get where Nick is coming from. Okay, I know that there's a long history of reasons why people don't like what you call it. Don't like Nick. But my whole thing is like, why does nobody? Okay, she is literally sitting there playing brother against brother, but no one bothers to sit there and hold Sally accountable for any of this, right? And even the way that she was sitting there talking to Adam in tomorrow's episode is out of pocket. It's out of pocket. Just say, yeah, it better be good. Well, to be fair, that cooking fiasco kind of happened because of Jess. Um, so I do kind of blame her for that one. The amazing, gorgeous Queen Janet is in the chat. What's good, Janet? Janet says, I'm not a Sally fan any longer. Yeah, I mean she's playing both brothers against each other. But everyone wants to sit there and blame it on everyone wants to sit there and blame all this on Nick. And that's my issue. Darby says, shut the front door. Alicia, I've never been on a school trip. Never been on a school trip. What does that mean? Like I thought I tried to impress the woman and did the exact opposite. You know what? Like I said, I blame Jess for that one. Harry says, I'll say it again. Albert says, missed it. Missed it.
Can you hear me?
DC. What's good, DC?
I saw this like an open free for all today. So let me pop on in. I just got out of class. Let me pop on in this thing.
Yes. One and only.
I'm probably like 20 minutes or so, but let me just pop on in. Let me pop on in.
Of course. You know it's an open invitation for you always.
Did anybody come on yet?
No. I put it up there, but I didn't really sit there and promote it. Because I kind of got lost in some stuff.
What you got lost in?
Well, I was given an announcement. So
about
next, yeah. So okay, yeah.
But what
So
is
what's
this?
going on?
You won't say. That's so mysterious.
You know, I'll text you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea. Sounds like a good idea. Then.
Yeah. So what's going on? What's your thoughts? What you got? What you got for me?
I did watch Day Say. I watched B&B. YNR was not on CBS's website today. I don't know what was going on. Anybody else had that issue? Like the episodes were not posted on there. Even I have Paramount Plus and it wasn't on there either.
Yeah, I mean, I got Paramount Plus, so that's kind of insane. Okay, that's weird.
Well, it was earlier in the day. I couldn't see Monday's episode, and maybe they posted it tonight, but I wasn't able to see nothing. I'm like, what's going on? Like they didn't
But
show.
they usually post it after 5 o'clock.
Oh, now they posted. Yeah, they posted at 5 o'clock, but it's like yesterday's episode. I should be able to see today. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a little weird.
I just literally just checked the website a second ago. Now they have it posted. All of a sudden, now they got it posted. All of a
Just
sudden.
because of you, just because you wasn't happy about it, so it was like post.
So I only caught days, Mondays and Tuesday, and then I caught B&B, yesterday's B&B. Yesterday's B&B I was able to access. So I see that the title you guys got here is Belle, massive hypocrite for not giving Shawn days. I think it's okay if she doesn't forgive Shawn, even though she did the same thing. Two wrongs don't make a right. But she should have stayed in her seat at that funeral. She should have stayed in her seat at that funeral. That's what happens when you don't stay in your seat.
So, okay, so why do you think that she shouldn't forgive Shawn? That's what I don't understand.
Well, two wrongs don't make a right. And the thing about it is, like, even though this, like, she cheating on Shawn, EJ was most recent, but, like, it's like you do wrong to somebody and then they have their process. But if they do wrong to you, you also have to keep in mind that person has their own process too. So given that he also has his own process, she has her own process, I feel like I get it. Granted, she should have stayed in her seat at this funeral. That would not have happened had she stayed in her seat. That's what happens to people when you don't stay in your seat. Because you were all like, what's so wrong with her giving Philip a hug? Now we see what happens. Because if I had an uncle who was also with somebody that I was with, and I was at my grandfather's funeral, and the person I was with went up to go give him a hug, knowing our history, you know what I'm saying? Knowing we were on the run for him at one point in time, I'd have some issues. I'd have some issues with that. So, that's why I understand Belle's history in a sense. I get it. I get it. But at the same time, I mean, like I said, she's not a hypocrite per se. I mean, I think that's why she hasn't lashed out as of yet, as crazy yet, because she really has no room to. But she's still allowed to feel upset, though.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jess, you're something else. Here's the thing. I get being upset. I get, I get being upset. I get being like, listen, I need some time to sit there and think about this. But like, you literally cheated on this man. You wrecked your home more than once. Nobody's not there saying, my whole thing is after your feelings, but let's just put me aside. You did it 3 times or so. You don't think that you could be like, all right, I need my time, my space to sit there and process this. But I did this to this man a couple of times, and now I know how it feels. I know what I put him through.
I guess, like, I get her being upset because I know I've done some things in relationships that were not right, but if someone did them to me, I'd be as pissed. I couldn't be all the way pissed, but I'd still be pissed.
Yeah, well, I mean, being mad is one thing, but not forgiving is something else to him.
So you feel like she should forgive him and stay with him?
Yeah.
I mean, but she has a right not to, though.
No, I mean, obviously, yes. Obviously, yes. She has a right not to, right? But listen, at the end of the day, no one has a gun yet. You can't sit there and be like, well, you're going to sit there and stay with me or else. But I can't sit there and help not calling somebody a hypocrite. Are you doing the same thing? Have a night, Joyce. Thank you for joining. I can't sit there and not call somebody a hypocrite for forgiving, for not forgiving somebody that you've been forgiven for. It just, even if I took those 2 out, it would still be very hypocritical.
That's true. That's true. Now, if Belle's upset, which she has a right to, now she'll know next time to stay in her seat. And can't get over that thing because
no, of course not.
I still have not gotten over that because when I saw that, I was like, what is she doing? Oh, Philip, are you okay? Like, Victor was also Brady's grandfather. I didn't see her get up to go comfort Victor. Not Victor, Brady. I didn't see her get up to comfort Brady because Victor was his grandfather. I didn't see her get up to comfort him, but she went to comfort Philip. And granted, Philip is Victor's son, so he obviously would be probably the most affected out of everybody, if not Maggie. So I get it, but
Yeah, no, I get it. Thank you, Kevo. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
thanks, Kevo. But but it's like she should have stayed. She should have stayed in her seat. Now, Talia, on the other hand, really has no place. Talia's
Yeah,
worse. She defended you, and Marlena is your therapist. Marlena is such an inappropriate therapist. Like, it's just so inappropriate. Like, it's just, sis. Like, to me, all of a sudden, Marlena was like, yeah, I can't see you no more as a therapist. But you were willing to see Ben Weston, the man who tried to kill your grandson. That was cool.
yo,
Right? That was cool, though, right? That was what's up, though, right? Right.
that's insane. Mm, mm-mm.
She didn't see that
Yeah,
as
and just
inappropriate, but she saw seeing Talia as inappropriate. Okay, sure. Yep.
now, no, I understand. Here's the thing. Even on Talia's part, I understand that Bella's upset with her, and she has a right to be upset with her. It's like, yo, listen, nobody in town was going to represent you until Bella did. Um, so like, yeah, you pretty much messed up, right? And it's not like she's not owning it.
Yeah.
She understands that she really did sit there and mess up. So it's like I totally get that. But my whole thing is Jada's like, oh, Shawn took advantage. I was like, you do realize that both of them were drunk, right?
Yeah, I hope they don't go that route.
Did you're reading the same I'm reading, right?
I just saw it now. I just saw it. Oh, now it just got deleted all of a sudden? Oh, no. Okay, it's still there. Still there. Okay, it's still there. How does it make you interesting? Some people like the allure. Listen, some people like the allure. Come on, Alicia. How does it make you interesting? Alicia, are you just joking with us? You gotta be joking with us, right? How does it make you interesting? But you know
Alicia,
what?
yeah,
Go ahead.
I want to ask you, oh no, like seriously, how is it interesting? And no, seriously, thank you, Gavin. No, I just appreciate you just being here. Thank you.
It might interest the person because a lot of people like something that is occupied or busy or that everybody wants. This is why a lot of times people in relationships or married people always seem that much more attractive to other people in this weird way. Personally, I don't desire that personally because it's going to come with a heartache, tears, gunshot wounds, possibly. So,
Well, she said a soap opera song.
okay, and the subs. Okay, and the subs. Okay, I figured. So this is like I said with Belle, like with Talia. Talia has messed up every connection she has. The only saving grace for Talia is Jade at this point. Jade is the only thing that gives her somewhat of a moral standing at this point because we saw what you did to Chanel. Now look what you did to Belle. The only person who's in your corner, and you were upset because Chanel didn't want you. And this is the thing too, is like you were seeing Talia. This is another thing with Marlena. Even if Talia didn't sleep with Shawn, you were seeing Talia, who is involved with Chanel, who was not only involved with your grandson, but was also involved with your granddaughter. This is
Yeah,
Marlena, how are you still practicing? What's going on, sis? Like, what's going on? You were willing to see the man who attempted to murder your grandson, strangled him to death, tried to strangle him to death. You were willing to see that man, you know. But the thing that broke the camel's back with her was her sleeping with Shawn.
yeah, that is definitely out of pocket. It is. I want to quickly jump over to Y&R for a minute because we were sitting there having this debate or whatever in the chat with the love triangle of Sally, Adam, and Nick, right? Sally is fantasizing, having dreams about kissing Nick, kissing Adam, and everything like that. And so I want to know, what are your thoughts on that whole thing?
I've grown exhausted of Sally and Adam. Sally and Adam, to me, as characters, lack direction. Sally's a fool to not think that Nick is not the better buy for her. And it's so weird how most of the chat will side with Adam and not Nick. I'm really concerned for y'all. What's going on? Maybe you need to talk to Marlena Evans. She's got some open appointments.
Oh,
A lot of guys. Let's
you're
talk.
you're at that Kyrie's? You're at that Kyrie's, Clark?
Because how is it that here's the thing with Sally. Nick to me, like I said, Nick is a better buy, and she's having these fantasies about Adam. And Sally has lost her direction because she was this. She's still working in the business world, but she's not as ambitious as she was on B&B. I feel like on YNR they've watered her down. She's just wandering aimlessly between the two brothers, and Adam will continue to play the ping pong game with her. He will continue to play the ping pong game with her as long as she'll allow him to. But this is a man who has gaslighted his own wife, um, had practically pushed Ashley down a flight of stairs. She was pregnant, switched babies on top of that, injected poison into like a pseudo poison into his eyes, pretending he was blind, slept with another man to avoid getting out of prison charges. And this is like, well, he didn't sleep with him. He serened. Well, he kind of, well, he didn't sleep with Ray, but he kissed him, made out with him. No, he did sleep with Ray. He did sleep with Ray. He slept with another man to avoid prison charges. Okay. And see, this is the thing. This is why I don't like, and I've said this all the time. This is why I don't like recasts, because the thing about it is, I see Kyrie's comment.
Yeah.
The thing about recasts is just that like they always act like the actors, the character didn't do those things when all of a sudden a recast comes into play. When to me, I hold soap grudges, so I remember everything the person does. I remember all that somebody does all the time. So with Sally, Adam, and Nick, I'm exhausted of them. I'm just exhausted at all. Well, okay, what are your thoughts? I want to tangent. What are your thoughts?
No. Listen, when you go off on tangents, you make some really good points. Spikequake, make sure it's not there playing nice tonight. 'Cause I'm not there
I am
checking out the chat.
I am like
That's I just want to make sure. So my whole thing is, I see. My whole thing is, I understand where Nick is coming from, right? Because you're out of town, you're doing business, whatever. Your brother sits there and kisses your girl. Anybody in that situation is going to be pissed off, right? But also, my whole thing is like, Sally, why did you open up your mouth and say anything? Like, if it wasn't that big of a deal, why did you feel the need to sit there and say that?
What did
Okay,
she
fine, whatever. Yeah, exactly. She said to Nick, she was like, "Oh yeah, I kissed Alan." I was like, "Why would you tell him that for?"
That's pretty pertinent information.
Yeah, but she was like, I'm gonna keep it quiet. It wasn't that big of a deal. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. Just for you to sit there and say that you did it, but whatever, fine.
Let's see if she didn't do it. Then if he found out, she would have been like, "It wasn't a big deal." And then he'd be like, "Well, if it was a big deal, why didn't you just tell me?" Like, how many times have we heard that conversation? So
Okay,
come
so
on.
yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so I give you that. I give you that. But then it's like, she is, she's saying that she's confused. She's like, she's still, her feelings for Adam isn't gone. And I'm just like, all right, I get that. But I'm like, now you're sitting there playing with two people's hearts, and that's not okay. But everyone sits there and comes at Nick like, well, Nick should have stepped back. Nick gave a kidney. Nick did this. Nick that. I was like, so no one's going to sit there and bother to hold Sally accountable for her sitting there practically playing off of both men because she's confused. That's my issue.
I believe she did the same thing on B&B with Wyatt and Liam, if I'm not mistaken. So this is not her first like walk on the rodeo, like first show on the rodeo, we're gonna call it. It's not. So personally, for me, I liked it when Sally was with Jack Abbott in the beginning. When they put her with Jack, I know people thought that was a weird combo when they put her with Jack. It was weird, but I liked it. It was different. I liked it. The thing is with Sally is that she likes bad boys. She's one of those people, she likes the bad boys. You know what I mean? Hold on, is that an echo on your end or my end? Do you hear the echo?
No, I think I was more just like the fact that you were a little blurry, but you're starting straight out of them.
Okay. But Sally, she likes the bad boy. She's one of those people that she says she wants a good man, but she's not ready for it. Sally's not ready for a good man. So that's why Adam is right up her alley. Go ahead. I'm for it. That's exactly the man you deserve. So if everybody's saying Adam's the right man for her, I agree. The man pushed Ashley Abbott down the stairs. The man who pretended to be gay and something on the man just to avoid prison charges. The man who put poison in his eyes to pretend he was blind. The man who also switched Sharon's baby. What else has Adam done? Oh yeah. Yep. Sounds like it. Yep. Sounds like it.
That's a lot.
Two peas in a pod. I agree. They deserve each other. Two peas in a pod. You know, I hold soap grudges. Something I'm working on. I hold soap grudges. I don't hold real life grudges, but I hold soap grudges. So you know,
Wow, that's
whether
interesting because I definitely hold real life grudges. Like I do. I know people sit there and say it's because I'm a Leo, but I straight up do. Have a good night, Nicole. Thank you for joining. But yeah, no, I hold real life grudges. I don't. But yeah, no, I get that. I feel sometimes with people is that when they don't like a character, they have tunnel vision. So it's like it doesn't matter what the situation is, and it's this person's fault. That's the same thing with Nina. There's so many people that do not like Nina that they have tunnel vision. There's a lot of times I don't like Nina, but there's times where I will sit there and defend her and be like, Carly's kind of out of pocket, you know? But when I have
right,
discussions with
right.
some people and it just feels like it's going into tunnel vision, it's like the conversation just goes into just madness. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm good at this.
Right, right. You know, I used to be a huge Nina fan, but lately, I know it's all gonna hit the fan with Nina soon. And I love Nina during her Nixon Fall days. I feel like she just brought the best in Sunny at that time, or Mike. Which that was a controversial opinion for many. Nina now, I don't know how I feel about it, but Nina during Nixon Falls was her. That romance between her and Mike Sunny. It was so beautiful. It was giving Sabrina vibes for me back then. I guess the way people felt about Sabrina is the way I felt about Sunny and Nina back then during Nixon Falls. So it was good times. But
You
now,
can okay. I want you to understand. You compared Sprayna with Nina and Sunny. So if you get smoked, just remember that's on
I remember Sabrina Nation is one of the five families of Port Charles. So I have to remember I don't want a hit put out on me at all. But for me, like I said, I feel like with with characters like Nina, you know, the accountability aspect, because you got to hold your favorite characters accountable. You feel like you always got to hold them accountable. You know, even Nate the Great, he did some really bad things. I do feel like Elena should have been a real one and stood by him, but that's why she's gone. That's why, you know, she can't handle a real man like Nate, and that's okay. Not everybody can. You know what I'm saying? So she can't. She can't handle a real man like Nate. She can't. You know what I mean? She could not stand by a strong man like Nate. And Nate is a good man. So even Sean Brady. Sean Brady is a good man, but Bella should have stayed in her seat. This is how to stay in your seat.
now. Just remember the whole Atlanta comment, Kyrie's, because that was a DC comment. That was a DC
Elena did
comment.
not stand by her man, and she cost him his career. And she couldn't even stand by him at the very least. She's the reason why he has all these issues with his family. And look where she's at, crying somewhere in the aftermath. I'm over her. I'm over her. So Atlanta deserves everything she gets. And Sean and Brady is also a good man too. He's a good man. Bella should have stayed in her seat. This could have been avoided had she stayed in her seat. If she stayed in her seat and he did this, okay, I'll hold him fully accountable. But she did not stay in her seat at Victor's funeral. That's what happens.
No, you know what? Listen, I guess that's very interesting. Just because I didn't sit there and see it as that bad. Um, I mean, I just sat there, and, it was just more like a funeral situation. It was like, why would she just, sit
Okay,
down and like,
but let me put it to you in
I
this
don't get it.
context.
Yeah.
Let me put it to you in this context, Mr. Bostic of Love Enterprises. Uh, let's say you had a family member that had an affair with your wife. You thought your child was their child, but you found it was your child. Then you had to go on the run from this guy, threatening to kill you and your family. On top of that, still related though at the same time, still related. So obviously distant relation, right? Obviously distant relation at this point. Once try to kill you, the relation becomes a little bit distant, right? So actually, and not only that, your wife has had a recent affair with someone also in town. You're trying to move past that. And you guys are at the funeral for your grandfather and that family member who was also there, who, once again, you were on the run from him at one point in time with your wife. You've had to run away from him, try to kill you, try to kill your family, try to kill your child. All right. And at that funeral, even though he's sad, he's crying, he's up there by the casket, she goes up there to hug him.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bad look. No, it's definitely, and I can understand him being pissed off. I totally get that.
And she should have stayed in her seat. You know? I know people are like, "Oh, you're blaming Belle," but she should have stayed in her seat. She drove that man to drink.
Well, let's kind of back that up a little bit, but I get where you're coming from. And what's good, Autumn?
All right, Kyrie says, "Ain't nobody cost that LJ lineup Nate's career except Devon." Don't you really like? But here's the thing, Kyrie's Elena was the root of their feud from the beginning, right? Because I think it was Nate and Devon got into a fight, and then he did it. Something happened with his hands, and he was not able to become a surgeon anymore, and that's why he ended up in the business world. That wasn't his original intention. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Dolomedics. Thank you,
Oh,
Dolomedics.
thank you. You want to read that one with me?
You want to read it? You want?
Yeah, Dolly says exactly. Bella should have stayed in her seat. Chloe knew to stay in her seat to support her rebound. Hashtag stay in your seat. Okay, all right. Now I okay.
Did you? Because you didn't see Chloe go up to go support Brady when she knew she was a Xander. She stayed in her seat like a real one.
I'm not gonna lie. I did not. That's actually he brings a good point. Kyrie, so if you want to sit there and come through, hit the link so you can sit there and give DC some smoke tonight.
She stayed in her seat. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing too. Because Chloe knew which Kiriakis man to support. She knew her lane. Literally, her last name is Chloe Lane, so it works. She stayed in her lane.
No, that's actually a good point. I did not sit. Yeah, okay.
Belle forgot which
That yeah.
Kiriakis man she was supposed to be supporting. She was on the wrong. She was riding on the wrong team that day, which we have to go hug Philip. Because the thing is, like, that would hurt me, especially considering the history. You on the run from this man, and I get it. They always act like, and this is the thing with Souls. I hate they do. They always act when it's a recast as if we don't know the history of this character. Because Jean Paul Lavoisier plays Philip as nicer, more milder, more vulnerable, more open. Whereas J. Kenneth Johnson plays Philip as ruthless, aggressive, you know what I mean? Like vicious in a sense.
Now, okay.
Vulnerable, but
Now, when you sent to say the two actors, because I don't really know their names now. When I started watching it, um, which Philip was that? I started watching it in 2020,
it was the other.
and yeah, who was okay? And that Philip is the more ruthless one.
Yes. Now, John Paul Lavoisier's Philip is a lot more different because his Philip is. Sorry, I'm gonna get my battery charger. My phone just went. My computer went low. But John Paul Lavoisier's Philip is more quirky, more vulnerable. Because I couldn't see. Hold on, give me 1 second here. Let me try this in. I could not personally see. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. There we go. Boom. I'm plugged in. Am I plugged in? Yes, I'm plugged in. I personally could not see J. Kenneth Johnson's Philip apologizing and being all vulnerable because his Philip was the one that died. Like, died supposedly. It wasn't John Paul Lavoisier's Philip. So I felt robbed. And I do feel like it should have been J. Kenneth Johnson's Philip at that funeral. We could have gotten flashbacks. We would have seen the true nature of the viciousness. But this John Paul's Philip is not that. So
Well,
he was apologetic and all this other stuff.
well, we did actually get some flashbacks of the other Philip, not as much, but we did. Actually, it's surprising because apparently he played him before also, and was good. Lakeisha and was good. Amy. Um, yeah, so we did get some flashbacks, but yeah, I can see it. I guess it would have been a different impact. I didn't, people said that he also played Philip before at one point as well.
Yeah, he
So I
did. He
thought
did.
that was interesting.
He did. He did. He did play football at one point, and I think that's why they brought him back because they probably couldn't get Jake Kenneth to come back to the role. So like, we'll get John Paul because you have to have Philip back or Victor's funeral. It's crazy not to have him there. That's his son. So DC still a show comments, but like I feel like they had to have Philip back in some capacity. But the problem is, like I said, with recast, they always seem to change the character with the actor actress. Like with Kristen, and I think you've seen both Kristens, have you? I think you've seen Eileen Davidson's Kristen and the current Kristen, right?
No, just the current Kristen.
So the current Kristen, like when they do a recast, I noticed the recast's relationships with people change too. So like the current Kristen, she's best friends with Lonnie. Her Kristen is more vulnerable. We're reminded every 24/7 she's not a biological Demira. Eileen Davidson's Kristen was more not vicious or anything, but just more seductive. Her best friend was Jennifer Horton, and the love of her life was John Black. The love of this Kristen's life is Brady.
Ah,
So it's almost like two different histories we're given with the two Kristens. I don't know if anybody who watches Days has happened to notice that. But like I said, they always tend to change things up when it's the recast. There's certain
Okay,
things they honor, things they don't honor, depending on who's in that role.
okay. So we'll look at Drew for a minute, right?
Drew. So Drew is another one. So this Drew, he's super in love with Carly and wants her badly. The other Drew was like a family man for him and Sam, and it was totally different. This the other Drew was he was he wasn't actually as close to Carly at all. The other Drew, to be honest, he really wasn't because Sonny and Carly dropped like a bad habit when Jason came back. They dropped like a bad habit. But there was two total differences in how those two characters of Drew were played. This Drew, he was more of like the Navy SEAL, ELQ. The other Drew was like Aurora Media, but like had a little bit of the Jason in him because that's who he came back as initially. So there was those differences, and that Drew had a relationship with Elizabeth, was more there for his children. This Drew seemed like he could care less. He says he loves his kids so much, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like I said, it's two totally different ways they play the character. Go ahead.
No, 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 no. You definitely have a point. What's good, Jonathan? No, you definitely have a point there. Because even you sit there. Because here's the thing: even before Jason came back, Drew didn't actually want to have anything to do with Carly because of Sonny. He was just like, you know what, listen, I'm good. I'm gonna sit there and take a Sam. This Drew comes in. He's all about Carly and F his family at this point. I mean, at this point, they didn't even sit there. I don't even think Sam knows about Drew's condition, being in the hospital. I don't think that she still knows. It's like this is just totally out of whack at this point.
Yeah, they definitely don't know, but yeah, Carly happens to know, and I'm like, okay, that's what we want to do here, huh? That's what we're trying to do. Like, okay, this is what we want to do. Like I said, when they recast the role, like I said, the character's history at time does change, and it's very weird. We don't notice that a lot. But like for example, this Sonny had a tryst with Leo, and even though we remember the sexual harassment thing, this Sonny would entertain Leo. He would. The other Sonny that was played by Freddie Wilson would not entertain Leo at all. He just wouldn't. The other Sonny was more serious, more a little kind of judgmental. This Sonny played by Zach Tinker is a little more vulnerable. He almost has like a sidekick feel to him, as well as the other Sonny is like, okay, I'm a businessman, I'm a family man. It's just two totally different like ways they play the character. Even with these Mollies, we've had 8 Mollies at this point. I know it's only been 3. It feels like 8 Mollies at this point. All playing Molly extremely different. Like even with the 4 Carlys, we had Sarah Brown's Carly. Her Carly was gritty, was rough. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, like, I've been through a lot, but I'm a strong woman. She kind of had that kind of vibe to her going on. And then there was Tamara
Camera.
Bond's Carly. Her Carly was like a nut job, total nutcase, always needed saving. That was pretty much it. Then there was She Who Must Not Be Named. So let's move on to the 4th Carly.
Yep.
So now with the 4th Carly, the 4th Carly, her Carly was definitely a more empowered Carly, a more balanced Carly. Her Carly was a lot more vulnerable, but her Carly wasn't as greedy. Her Carly was a little more like uppity because I feel like that's what they kind of made her. Like she was with Alcazar and then she was with Jax and they did the whole Metro Court thing. And this Carly started off really bougie. That's how I took it as, at least, that this Carly started off bougie. But then she got softened over time because she was in part of the Metro Court. Because Sonny likes highfalutin women. That's his type. Sonny likes him, a classy chick who thinks they're too good for him. That is his type. Y'all notice that, right? Man, you know what I'm saying? Connie Falconeri, Claire Walsh, Alexis Davis. He likes high-powered women who thinks they're too good for him. Brenda Barrett, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you got it. Got a point there. Thank you, Black Man. Hit that like button. No, he's. You're right. You're right. Thank you, Black Man. Make sure you do hit the like button. It really does actually help. Yeah. Now, looking at EJ from Days. Now, how do you assess those two? Because you've seen both EJs.
I have seen both EJs. I feel like this EJ is actually I don't know if I can say this EJ is more ruthless. I feel like the other EJ. Let me see how I would assess the two of them. The EJ played by James Scott. James Scott's EJ was. I'm trying to see. I have to say James Scott EJ was still probably more ruthless. I mean, they were about to cut Samantha open and get them stem cells for Stefano, so his EJ was still always going to be ruthless to this day. James Scott's EJ was. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it because there's definitely a difference between the two of them. This EJ I feel like is more vulnerable, but this EJ for one, I don't. I mean, obviously Sammy's not around anymore, so we don't see that vibe with Sammy. But the other EJ, he would do anything for his Samantha, And I feel like also with the other EJ that he was about the Demera family, but he wasn't all about the Demera family at the same time. Whereas this EJ is a little bit different. They made this EJ more of a family man, more of like almost even like a patriarchal type of role, almost more of a father figure. Because we didn't see that with James Scott's EJ. We didn't really see that, which I thought would have been interesting to have seen that played out. Um, but with the two EJs for me, and I was about to ask what you thought of the two EJs, but you weren't around for the old EJ.
Yeah.
Have you seen clips or anything like that?
No, I should probably watch some clips though,
You know,
just to kind of get a comparison.
so like the old EJ, like he was dangerous. This man had Steve Johnson possessed by a tarot card. It was just this EJ is a little bit milder, a little bit more gullible at times, a little more naive. Some things he fought for the old EJ played on James Scott wouldn't have fell for. In my personal opinion, he wouldn't have fell for it.
Hmm. And let's get it last day. Now, Spider Quick asked an interesting question because he watched Days for the first time. And so he was like, on GH, they usually have their main characters like Sunny, Carly, and stuff like that. And he was like, well, how is it on Days? And Dolomedics, I always call him Dolly, is like it's more of a ensemble cast. It's not like really. Would you agree with that? Where it's like it's not really main characters; it's just more of ensemble.
Definitely an ensemble cast. There's very few soaps that manage to do ensemble cast well because GH is not ensemble. They're trying to be ensemble now, which is weird because that's just not the rhythm that GH has been used to for forever and a day. No Candace Mack there, but
I was waiting for that.
but it's always they've never done ensemble casts. Like this is like a new thing for GH, and we're now seeing that play out because we're used to Sonny, Carly, Jason being lead, which to be honest, that helped the show for so long. But Days is more of an ensemble cast because you don't feel like there's a main character with Days. Even in All My Children, technically Erica Kane was the main character, but let's see. Yes. See, don't next you took words right out of my mouth. Yes, that's what that is. Yes, because we never saw the old EJ with Susan. We never saw them in the same. That never ever happened. It was with this EJ we finally got to see him with Susan. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
It
yeah.
says Keisha says DC. I would assume it's because Stefano the actor was still alive playing the character. Maybe that's why we didn't see James Scott's EJ step into the Demeric patriarch role. Yeah, that was why. That was definitely why. That was definitely why at the time. That was definitely why. So but I agree. I definitely agree with Dolomag's the old EJ was more posh, and this EJ does feel more rough. He does have more of a roughness to him. Like it's still EJ Demera, but it's rough. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it is more roughness. So I do see that. And like I said, we actually get to see the relationship between Susan and EJ this time around. We didn't see that with the last EJ. With the last EJ, we knew Susan was his mother, but it was rarely mentioned. Like it's almost like she was like an afterthought at that point. It was an afterthought. But we were talking about the ensemble casting. Like on All My Children, Erica Kane was the main character, but it was an ensemble cast. One Night to Live was kind of the same thing. Vicky was technically like the main character, the protagonist, but it was still ensemble cast, which is like that's where and that's the thing I feel like GH is trying to do. Like Sonny, Jason, Sonny and Carly are still kind of like the main characters of GH, I feel like, but they're trying to make an ensemble. And I think actually lately they've been doing a better job at it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, you think that he's gonna see EJ this week? He is gonna see EJ this week, right?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Um, I think it's interesting. I don't know. I guess for me, when I first started watching it, because Sonny kind of brung me into the whole show when it first started and stuff like that. I was just used to that level. But I guess it's kind of cool for them to sit there and try to write for other characters and give them more of a spotlight and stuff
How do
like
you
that.
really
And
feel
just
about it
make it
though?
about, huh?
How do you really feel about it though?
I think it's cool. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, I'm always gonna sit there and have my favorites like Sonny, Jason, and Carly, and yada yada yada. But I'm open to the idea of giving Finn and Liz more of a story as long as it's interesting. Same thing with Spencer and Trina and stuff, and Jocelyn and Dex. If you give them a good story, I'm going to be into it. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, because and I feel the same way too. I feel like as long as they give the characters a good storylines and that's good as balance, because during the Sunny Colin Jason days, they try to do that, and I feel like they tried with Night Shift. Night Shift was like that other half, you know, of them trying to attempt to show like what should have been the whole show. But I get why GH did that because GH started off as a show that was ensemble in the 70s. The problem is people weren't tuning into that and they were about to get canceled. And then they brought in the Luke and Laura stuff. And then that came up with a hitch. And it's like, let's keep this going. You know what I'm saying? And Luke and Laura were pretty much the Sonny and Carly and Jason or whatever. Well, there wasn't, I don't know who the Jason would be. Oh, well, you guess Scott would be the Jason in that case back then. So it was Luke, Laura, and Scott. They were like the Sonny, Carly, and Jason back in the day, pretty much at that point, leading the show. And it was all about them. Yeah, you had Anna, all these other people, but it was really about them. They were leading that show. Because if you look, there's like two different generations of GH. There's Luke and Laura, and then there's the Sonny and Carly era. We're kind of like in the Sonny and Carly era and like in a weird area with that right now. Like we're kind of like meshing out of that, which is like it's awkward for the writers and for us. We feel the awkwardness, right? Because we're not used to this.
And it's actually really interesting though, because like I was talking to somebody this week. I think I was either talking to a customer at work or one of my friends or somebody. I was meant to talk about like soap operas and stuff like that. You know what I do, and I was like, I watched General Hospital and stuff like that. And pretty much we just, we came to that conclusion. It's like, listen, General Hospitals for the most part is kind of a, like guys can sit there and admit that they watch the show because it's General Hospital. You couldn't do that with Days or, One Like Live, but with General Hospital is like, you can do it because it's,
It was
And
okay.
Johnson says,
Watch GH.
exactly. Now, Johnson says, I think Edmund might have been the one who helped raise AJ. He didn't spend much time with him. Interesting. And I can hear some static from you. Carrie says, what happened to the favorite shirts? What happened to the favorite shirt? No, I do not. No.
What year static from my end?
Yeah.
Really? Huh. Is it the mic or something? It might be the mic, man. I might just need to take this thing out. Could be the microphone. I might take it out in a second. Let me know if you still hear it. Do you still hear it now?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. Here's a weird theory. What if, because Edmund has never really been on screen like that in Days. And like I said, the writers don't do things for decoration. So, someone just made a comment about Edmund raising EJ. So, I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if you see what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but then can you imagine that though? And thank you, Kyrie, and thank you, Kyrie, thank you, Jonathan. That'd be crazy if he is not.
And what if Ava finds out the truth, and that's something she used to blackmail EJ?
Oh, that he's not really a Demara. And no, I didn't throw it out. I
don't know how to feel if they did that because that's going to shake up so much. Like I like it soapy, but then it's like he's not a Demira though. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. I mean,
because why is Edmund on screen? Writers don't do things for decoration. Okay, and GH, yes, because they have robots writing the show right now. But Days, they don't. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like they don't do things for decoration on the soaps. When characters sit there, like we see characters that haven't talked in a long time or sitting down, or somebody looks at someone too long, it's not for decoration. And why is Edmund here? And someone just mentioned that Edmund raised EJ, which he did. And Edmund has an accent. Well, technically that doesn't matter. You can be raised somewhere and get the accent. It technically doesn't matter. But something's happening here. Something's happening. The Edmund is back.
That's interesting. I didn't actually think about that. That's wow.
If this does happen, guys, you heard it here first. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. All right, not one of those spoiler channels. All right, where someone with a foreign accent is like reading off of something. Barely read the script. Good Lord. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I know, Lakeisha, I can't imagine it either. I can't. It would be good soap, but it's like devastating at the same time. Like, whoa, like I want them to do it, but I don't want them to do it at the same time. Like it's one of those things where like it's gonna make good soap, but it's like as a viewer, it's actually gonna affect you a little bit. You're gonna feel a little affected by it.
Like AJ, I don't know how to view you anymore. You're not. You can't walk around with this "I'm a Demero" kind of attitude. I'm better than everyone. It's like no, you're just a dude.
So for him
You're just a
not
dude.
being here, it's just but maybe that would be Ava's saving grace to maybe
Yeah, I
get
can see
her
that.
back in the mirror or something. Like, oh my god, I don't know how to feel about that. He's not
Oh,
being
you
there.
read Jonathan's comment about that the accent.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Definitely.
technically, it wouldn't because EJ was raised in England. So anybody who was raised in England as a child would develop the accent, whether they're born there or not,
Yeah.
or whoever their parent was. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. EJ not being a Demera. It's like Tony's already not a Demera. Uh, so
And Kristen isn't a Demera by
she's not a
blood.
Demera. So then who would be next? Chad and Stefan to take the realms?
Yeah. Kind of a sad day at that point for Days of Our Lives.
It would that would be devastating. If they did that. That would be way too devastating. They did that. They made EJ not a Demera, and then Johnny would not be a Demera.
Oh,
That would
could
undo
this
that.
be?
They're all getting kicked out of the mansion. They're all getting put out. EJ would lose his Demera shares. I don't know how I would feel about that. I really don't know.
Thank you, Jonathan. Johnson says they actually did do a storyline about a decade ago where EJ was believed not to be Stefano's son at one point.
Yeah, I think I remember that briefly. I think I remember that briefly. I really briefly. Dolometics, I agree with you. I hate that Tony isn't Demera. I just don't get why they can't retcon that and just make him a Demera already biologically. Like, my goodness, this man's been the family point. He's been since the 80s, the quicksand, the plane crashes with Stefano. I don't get it at this point. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you again. Um, have you been watching? You still haven't really caught up to any B&B stuff, right?
I watched B&B yesterday. Yesterday's episode of B&B. I did. I
Okay.
did a review on B&B today, actually.
Oh, nice. Okay, I gotta check it out. So, what do you've been thinking about it? Eric versus Ridge. Whose team are you on? Because apparently you got to pick a team. Part of the rules.
Because Ridge has a raspy voice, I'm going to go. Hey, David. Because Ridge has a raspy voice, I'm going to go with Eric. Um, the character, this is this thing with B&B, with his veterans. Well, this is why not in B&B. I know I'm going off on a tangent here because I know you asked me one question. I was going off on a tangent.
No.
I don't know if you guys notice on B&B and YNR, the vets don't stick together like they do on Days and GH. The vets on Days and GH have like a camaraderie amongst each other. They have like a friendship and a bond. It's almost like, because the thing is, like I said, and I said this in one of my reviews, when you've gone through secret agents, spies, masked identities, international terrorists, it has a way of bringing people together. You know what I'm saying? Some real shizzle like that, some real stuff. You don't feel phased by the other stuff. The people on YNR and B&B, they're too bougie and bougetto. They haven't gone through some real deal stuff, so they still feud with each other 80 years down the line. Over the fact that you stole my business, or you embezzled money from this. But when you go through international affairs, like what?
Like May and Joe.
Like Mamie in jail, like, oh, they still beefing over that. Are you kidding me? Like, that's what y'all are beefing over? I mean, you see, the vets on GH don't have time for that. They've been on the run. They've been presumed dead. You know what I'm saying? They've had someone steal their identity. You know what I'm saying? They've been through some real. They've seen people cryogenically frozen, come back from the dead. They've been through some real stuff. Okay, they've been through real things that just don't even trump this stuff, right? That's why they have a way of putting their stuff to the side. And on Days too, like on Days of Our Lives, when you've been through a microchip in your brain, possessed by the devil, possessed by a tarot card, you're presumed dead, on a plane crash to Haiti. When you put through those kind of things, like someone's telling your business don't even matter at that point. That don't even matter. But I think with Days with YNR B&B, especially B&B since we're talking about it, I don't like that they just can't already have the vets stick together at this point and moving over to a different type of storyline. You saw they do that on GH. Like the vets aren't feuding with one another. It's like they have other stuff feuding with them, and they stick together and they work together, and that's their storyline, as opposed to we're gonna feud together for the 18,000th time. Because even this Mamie and Jill thing, it's new for YNR, but it's not new. Like it's new for them to bring this up to revisit that, but it's not new in the sense of old storylines between the vets going on forever and ever. And at this point, like, is Mamie really mad? Because sis, John Abbott was not going to pay you that money. Like he wasn't going to get it. So I don't know what you're mad about. Jill changed your whole life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Jill changed your life. Get off that $1 million. What you mad about? You know what I'm saying? Like I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like what could she be mad about? She gave you $1 million. I would take it too. Love can always come from somebody else.
But she did take it though, right?
She did. She took the money.
Yeah, smart woman. Now going with this B&B and the whole hand and everything like that. Wow. Okay. Thank you, Jonathan. Johnson says it's amazing how well Dan plays EJ. The actor is Australian. He's good with the British accent. Yeah, I actually did hear his Australian accent at one point because James wound up interviewing him. And on his channel, you actually heard it. It was just like, I'm sitting there listening. I was like, who is this guy? If you go to James' channel, you can actually hear it. He does actually have an Australian accent.
Like Australian British accents to some people may sound the same, but they're really different. They're really different. If you listen to them,
they are.
They're really different. They're really different on that. What were you gonna say? You're saying something about the hand?
Yeah. Eric and his whole hand thing and everything like that. He can't draw, and so now he has RJ that's drawing for him and stuff like that. And now you have this Luna character again. Well, I mean, they have this new Luna character. I don't know if you actually you saw her.
Yeah, yet.
You didn't see Luna?
Like whenever I watch B&B, this Eric and Rich storyline never comes on for some reason. Whenever I get the chance to catch it, I don't know what it is. Like this is some good stuff, but I don't get the chance to catch it. So they're developing Eric having arthritis or something.
It's not arthritis or something with his hands. It's like his hands is he can't draw, and he's having like tremors in his hands and stuff like that. But he doesn't want to tell Ridge because Ridge is practically already pushing him out the door anyway.
Right. Right. What I see honestly on B&B, especially with Eric, I'm gonna say this: I've never been able to take Eric seriously as a character. I have to just confess, So I
confess your sins. Let's go.
I confess, Father, forgive me for I have sinned, but Father Albert, but I just feel like that's why Albert's no longer CEO of Love Enterprises. He went from being CEO to high priest. But the reason why, for me, like I have never respected Eric because he's just always come off as like a man with no backbone. Even from the days of Stephanie, even from the days of now, like he should have stayed with Quinn. Quinn should have been his forever wife to ride it out with, and we could see different storylines with him. But he's with Donna. I can't take him seriously. And see, that's the thing too with B&B. It's hard to take the love lives of any of the characters on the show seriously. Out of any of the soaps, besides Steffi and Finn. Steffi and Finn are the only like couple I can take seriously on the show.
Wait, you can't. Okay, so you couldn't take Eric seriously because. Because he went with Don instead of Quinn.
It's not only that, but it's like Eric has no backbone. Eric doesn't. Eric just doesn't. He doesn't really strike me as patriarch of family. He strikes me as like the uncle of the family who gets married every year and brings somebody new to Thanksgiving table.
Oh,
that's what Eric Forster strikes me as. Honestly, that's what he strikes me as. He doesn't give patriarch vibes. I mean, more like great uncle in the background who comes every Thanksgiving, like, hey, this is my girlfriend so and so. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, she means a lot to me. And then next Thanksgiving, hey, this is my girlfriend so and so. She means a lot to me. Like that's Eric Forster. And he just happens to be a fashion designer. That's it.
And you just have the family just like, yeah, this one's not going to last. We'll sit there and say hi to her. We'll play nice or whatever.
And they've never given Eric a meaty storyline, a storyline that I feel like has given him depth as a character. I haven't seen it. I feel like maybe in the 80s they gave him that, but now I just...
What about the ED thing, though? I mean, okay, but you don't sit there and think that that's like kind of a very vulnerable issue that men have to deal with at a certain age. Nothing. No. Damn.
I mean, yeah, but
Tough
it's just
critic.
like because Eric is like such a philanderer, it's just hard. It was hard for me to take that storyline seriously. If it had
Okay.
been with someone like with Thomas or Liam, I could have taken it. See, Lakeisha just took the words out of my mouth. Thank you, Lakeisha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's it. She took the words out of my mouth. Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly it. I feel about Eric. Exactly it. Eric, they've never given him meat as a character. He's just there. He just happens to be one of the longest running characters on the show, but he doesn't have no meat as a character for me personally. So it's hard for me to get behind Eric's character, honestly. What is your take?
I mean, I see. I'm liking this a little bit because it's interesting. Sometimes I sit there and I watch James and stuff like that. And he talks about like ageism. Like people can still sit there and do work just because you're a certain age doesn't mean that you should sit there and practically be getting the boot if you can still do your job, right? And you look at a situation like Eric. Granted, Rich doesn't know about Eric's condition, so he's just like, "Oh, you need to go. You need to play pickleball. You need to do this. You need to do that." As far as he's concerned, Eric can still sit there and do his job. So I feel like in some ways, and granted you do it for the story, but at the same time, it's like this stuff does happen. And I think it's kind of an interesting way to sit there and take a look at it when you do push people out, that can still technically do their job. Oh, I just actually looked at that. Was it good, Alyssa?
You know the thing about it is that like YNR and B&B don't really do social issue storylines. So like when they finally do it, it's like, oh, like you doing social issue storyline, like, oh, like what are y'all doing?
Like seriously, like I picked up on that like a little while ago, and I was like, I think it's interesting. I was like, because it is an actual thing. That is an actual real thing that
Ageism.
does happen.
Funnily enough, we were just talking about ageism today in class. That was literally the whole topic.
Really?
So it's interesting. This storyline, see these kind of storylines, it's not saying that B&B can't do it, but I feel like these kind of storylines are better for soaps like GH or maybe even Days. This storyline would have been perfect for a show like All My Children. Perfect. This step story would have been perfect for All My Children because they execute the storyline so well. But a soap like B&B, I feel like we're gonna get a little bit of conversation about ageism for maybe another few weeks, and then Eric will be in someone's bed, or Ridge and Brooke will once again break up, and then it'll be back to Ridge and Brooke again. This is just the routine. So my expectations are B&B are low. Although Monday's episode B&B, I thought was amazing. I thought it was pretty good.
What was? Remind me. What was
Where
yesterday's episode?
Taylor went to go confront Hope about her feelings for Thomas, and then Deacon professing his love for Sheila. It's
Yes.
just
Okay.
the dialogue was actually pretty good. And the thing is, and I put in my whole review today about I feel like Taylor has too much time on her hands. She has too much time on her hands at this point. Maybe she needs to get some patience, get some new caseload going on, but she got too much time on her hands because it's like she's still worried about. This is to me another way that she can micromanage because she's got nothing else going on. And a lot of times I find that it's usually a lot of times when we don't have nothing going on, we find ourselves in situations we don't need to be in or arguing with people we don't need to be arguing with. You know what I'm saying? This is why older people, they're always in people's business because once they're retired, they're just staying outside the window, looking to see what's going on in the street, minding people's business, reading the mail. Anybody who has like an older family member, older grandparent living in your house, tell me they don't do that. Tell me they don't stay by the window. Tell me they don't answer the phone calls. Tell me they don't read people's mail. They always know who got what mail. Tell me they don't know those things. Tell me they don't know that. They always know everything that's happening in the neighborhood, even if nobody talks in the neighborhood like that. They know whose child went off to college, who got arrested last week, who broke up, got divorced. They know all these things all of a sudden. So they got too much time in their hands. And with Taylor, she's got too much time in her hands at this point. And now with Sheila, as I was looking at with Sheila this week, and I'm talking about this in my review, Deacon deserves better than Sheila personally. And not because of Sheila, but she's rejected him so many times. And it's like he still has to convince her that he's the right man for her. And that's got to be annoying. When you constantly have to convince someone that I'm the right person for you, especially when it's Sheila Carter. Like, sis, you need to be happy. But this is the thing with Sheila. She likes a man in power, whether it's Eric Forrester, whether it's Bill Spencer, whether it's Dr. Scott Granger from Y&R. She likes a good man in power. That's her style. And
Now, how you mean by money?
money, power, status. Deacon wasn't able to serve that to her in the silver platter before, even though she stood by her side. Even though when Bill had this whole plan, orchestrated to take her down, he was there by her side. She left him for Bill. She's like, no, I want to be with Bill. I think Bill has my heart. You know, no,
Hmm.
Bill has a bank account possibly for you. That's what you was looking into. That's what you was looking into.
Wow. I'm not. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't actually even sit there and look at it from that point of view. See, my whole thing is when I sit there and I look at this whole Deacon and Sheila relationship or whatever. I feel like for the whole week or whatever, he was just like, well, you got to go, you got to leave. I can't sit there and mess up my relationship with Hope and Brooke and stuff like that. And now out of nowhere, he's like, I don't want to be alone. Bro, you live in LA. You can practically just take a penny and just throw it at someone and, and find an attractive woman. What the hell are you sitting there doing with Sheila? And just like, you do realize that by being with Sheila, you're going to lose your relationship with Hope. So you're now cool with that because now you're like, oh, I'm pushing 50 or whatever. I'm gonna be old and lonely, so let's just do this now. It's like, where is this coming from? Like I just feel like it's just kind of out the blue with this whole marriage thing, you know?
It is. It is. It is. And I think it's because they've written Sheila into a corner because none of the characters on BB are messing with Sheila. They're not gonna mess with her. So Deacon is the only person that's left, even though because at the time when Deacon was like, "Yeah, I can't have you around my daughter and everything," all of a sudden Sheila's like, "No, like, be there for me." Because all of a sudden when you don't want something or someone, all of a sudden you become more appealing, more attractive in their eyes. It's very rare. That's why exclusion is actually a thing that increases desire in people. So when someone is not easily accessible, you're like, oh my god, like I want to be able to get in that person's time. I hope I can spend some time with that person because they're not as accessible. They become more valuable in your eyes when someone's not as accessible, when you don't have as much access to them, or when they're more exclusive. And Deacon was too available in the beginning. And people who are in relationships right now, let's chat. Hear me out right now. I'm telling you right now. Okay, I'll tell you right now. I'll drop some gems right now in a minute. Okay, whether you're in a relationship or you're getting to know someone, the more busier you seem, the more exclusive you seem, even if you aren't with the person, even if you're married with them, it increases your value in that person's eyes. It'll make them take you more seriously. It'll make them want to do more for you, right? Because they know that nothing is, your time is not guaranteed even with them, right? They'll appreciate more. And so with Sheila, when Deacon was like willing to lay out the red carpet for her before, she was acting funny. And what is he doing now? Laying out the red carpet for her. And what is she doing? Acting funny again. Like, well, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know, Sheila? There's not a lot of options. What do you don't know? I just don't know. Like, but see, when Bill was first trying to court Sheila, he was playing a little hard to get. He was playing a little hard to get. It's like, Sheila, I don't know. We've been through so much. And she's like, Bill, I think we can do it. I think we can have it. But that increased Bill's value in Sheila's eyes. And plus, Bill was the type of man that she would normally be able to have access to at that time. So that was part of the allure with Bill Spencer. That was part of the allure. And that's what Sheila likes. Even though Sheila's a criminal, she's dangerous, she likes allure, like most people do.
I like that look. I didn't sit there and see it that way before.
She likes the allure. She likes the allure. So this is the thing. So now Deacon is just settling for her. And
But also
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna sit there and say, and that's something else you said. You was like, they gotta sit there and find a way to keep her on canvas. And that's something that I noticed as well. And I was like, that's the real reason why they're doing it at this point. It's like, all right, let's get married. Because it was like, it's just out the blue at this point. So there has to be some sort of reason. And I just feel like it's like you said, gotta sit there and keep her on canvas somehow.
Because I feel like what they could have maybe have done is maybe Sheila was presumed dead and a woman came to town looking like Sheila. Maybe Sheila had a twin sister. It would have been far fetched, but I would have gone for it because Kimberly Brown is on contract. I get it. So you got to see this through. But some of the stuff is just not. It's like kind of like how you always say, like so much had to be dumbed down just for Sheila's character to stay on screen. From the trial to Bill stuff. Oh, it's not admissible in court, and then too much had to be dumbed down. Had to be dumbed down just for staying on screen. It's like, bruh,
And you go back and you even look at Peter, right? Peter on GH. The fact that he was able to get over so many people and a super spy and everyone else, and it was just like, well, he's on the show partly because of Carly, but also, you just got to sit there and serve out the story. In order to do
Damn.
it, you got to sit there. Come on, bro. We all know. Listen, we all know in this chat that's the truth. But just in general, it's like they had to sit there and find ways to sit there and keep him on the show by dumbing everyone else down. It's the same thing with Sheila.
Until they realized that
I,
wasn't going to work with Peter August anymore. Go ahead.
yeah, but I mean, granted, I don't know if I don't know how long his contract was as far as the actor or whatever. So when they do things like that, it does start to mess up certain storylines if it's not done right. When it's
Yeah.
done wrong, it's so obvious, and it's like it's very hard to sit there and take it seriously. Like you said, even this whole Deacon and Sheila thing, it's like, oh, now he wants to get married to her. Why? Because we gotta sit there and have her on the show because it's contract,
And the
not
thing
because
is,
it makes sense.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is too is like in order for a villain to stay on screen, they have to be watered down. If they're not watered down, they can't stay. And the thing is, Peter August was never watered down though. That was the problem. He never got watered down in order to justify his staying. Like Liesl Ulbrich had to be watered down in order for her to stay on screen as she is right now. Right? Like that's how certain villains they have to be watered down. Who's another villain? Franco. Franco, oh, they all the way water him down. We're talking fire hose. Okay. They all the way had to water him down. That was the only way it was gonna work and make sense. You know what I mean? That was the only way. Ben Weston is another example. They had to water him all the way down. Where I think there's a certain point in time, the point where the writers are okay, we want to write differently for Robert Scott Wilson, so let's try to make him into a different character. But that was the whole thing. Like they had to water down, but he never got watered down. And Sheila, I don't know if there is a watering down in Sheila. Like most of the cast is not messing with her. Most of the characters on B&B are not messing with her. So Deacon proposing to her, it's like, oh well, what is your daughter gonna think? I don't want your daughter to not want it. And honestly, I kind of feel like Deacon shouldn't give a damn what his daughter thinks. Like she's a grown woman, he's a grown man.
Yes,
That's
that's
how I feel
very true.
personally. Honestly, like you know what I'm saying? What is your daughter gonna feel like? You've been with me. You don't
Well,
want
I mean,
to.
to some extent, I understand that because it's like he finally has this relationship with his daughter, and that could potentially mess it up. But my issue is not so much like about not giving a damn about her feelings. It's more like her mess is a life. I mean, her life is a mess in general. Like she's literally sitting there wrecking her own home. She doesn't really have a lot to sit there and be like, well, I can't believe that you're sitting there with Sheila. Sis, you're sleeping with Thomas. Like you wrecked your home with Liam and you're sleeping with Thomas. You don't have room to sit there and criticize him at this point.
Right, right, right. That's why I said like Deacon and Sheila. I would have preferred Deacon and Taylor. I was hoping they were going to explore that at one point in time, but it's like we can't have good things on B&B.
Yeah, they teased the F out of that one scene, and people was like, okay, cool, I like that. But like this, we're not gonna do it together. We just want to sit there and see if you guys are gonna like it. But yeah, we're gonna do the exact opposite. Rinse and repeat as Ron always sits there and says.
But we can't have good things on B&B. We can't have nice things on B&B. And I'm realizing that now. We can't have nice things. I
Well,
don't
you
know.
also can't have LGBT couples on there as well.
We
So
can't. We can't. We thought we were gonna have a Brooke and Taylor thing. That didn't happen. Which I knew it was gonna happen. That'd be too. That would have been something that would have changed this whole show up. But
oof,
that would have been interesting to watch. But
yeah,
they're not there yet. They're not there. They're not there yet.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the uproar would have been insane. Put it lightly, but it would have been bold. It would have been bold. Like James says, it would have been bold.
It would have been bold. It would have. It would have. It would have been bold. But this is so B&B. This is why B&B like I never could watch it for a while. B&B was that show for me to watch back in the day when Stephanie was on. The storylines they had when she threw Jackie off the staircase. When Jackie came back with a fashion line, she called it M, and she had a mystery designer. It was Bridget, and then Steffi was kind of about to like flirt with her man. She said, "Stephanie, don't break up my home." But once they brought on Liam, the show for me took a dive at that point. When they brought on the Spencers, to me, that's when the show took a dive. Was I want to say around 2010, it started to take a dive for me with B&B, and I was still trying to figure out if they've recovered since then. Because, like I said, the show has just lacked that element. Okay, B&B is another show. This show is not ensemble cast. B&B is another show where it's not ensemble cast. It is
Yes,
not.
it's not.
It is not ensemble. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not an ensemble cast. You know, Y&R is also kind of one of those shows I feel like is trying to be ensemble, kind of ensemble, but also
But they're
like
not really.
they're not really ensemble. It's like they put on a mask saying, "Hey, we're ensemble," but like behind the mask, it's like it's somebody else. You know, it's like the Faison mask where it was like he pretended he was Duke Lavery, but he was really still Faison behind the mask. That's kind of what it is when I watch Y&R. Where
No,
B&B,
I
they was
mean,
go ahead.
no, I was going to sit there and say, because of course, you still got Jack, you still got Victor, and all that stuff, Nikki and Nick and Adam and stuff. So it's not really ensemble. Again, I thought it was really interesting because Spike Quick asked a question because he just started watching Days, and I was like, no, it is a lot more ensemble.
Yeah, it's very ensemble. I mean, Days has pretty much always been ensemble. Like, okay, Passions was sort of ensemble, but the main character was Teresa and Ethan on Passions. They were the main. They were the Luke and Laura of Passions. Was
Now, did
Teresa.
you ever watch Guy and Light
I did watch Sky and Light. I did watch Sky and Light.
as the
Definitely.
world turns?
As the World Turns, I watched it too. As the World Turns, I watched it too. Are you asking me if they're ensemble?
Well, I was just wondering, did you watch it? But yeah,
No, no, I did watch. I did watch those. Those two shows were definitely ensemble. Um, those two shows are definitely ensemble for me. But GH was not. B&B was not. And still is. B&B still isn't to this day.
uh,
Um, Passions was, but it was the Ethan and Teresa show. But it was balanced. Like okay, Passions was like All My Children. They had a main character, but it was balanced to the rest of the cast. So yes. Whereas Guiding Light to me didn't have a main character. As It Returns to me kind of didn't really have a main character. But B&B did, which was Breckenridge, Wynard, Victor, Nikki, and Jack. So,
hmm, interesting. What's good, Upper Doc? Um, yeah, I know you said you was only going to be on for like 20 minutes. So
yeah.
is it anything that you want to sit there and say to kind of end the in the chat?
Are you ending the live?
Well, yeah, because I was actually only going to be on for like an hour and a half tonight since I want to wake up and start doing some of these soap opera reviews before I go to work tomorrow. So.
Okay. Yeah, because I actually was actually just about to go the next few minutes. This is perfect time. This is perfect
Oh no,
time.
trust me. I saw the yawn, so I was like, it's a wrap at this
Oh,
point.
no. It wasn't because of that. Wasn't because of that. I promise. But yeah, honestly, I would just say I think soaps are. I think honestly, like I said, like it was good to be on tonight. I enjoyed watching the soaps early today. Um, yes, Lakeisha, Luis and Sheridan did drive the show for a while. They were also the other like Teresa and Ethan part two of Passions. But like I said, I'm interested. I gotta go watch some Wine B right after we get off of this. I'll be in bed watching it. Like I have it on my on my TV just watching it meanwhile. But I had a great time tonight. That's all I have to say. I don't have much to say tonight. I had a great time.
Well, it's always good to sit there and see DCs. Once I saw the thing at the bottom, and I saw it was like, man, it's about to sit there and get crazy.
But
I
no
mean,
one
not
came on the chat. How's all these? Come on, y'all. How all people in the chat? Nobody came on. Like you guys are
they're
getting
gonna
like
do
a
it.
gift. Nobody else does this with Albert, y'all. Come on, y'all
Well, I
get
mean,
it.
I get it. I get it to some extent because it is, it could be a little kind of nervous just to be, live in front of other people and stuff like that. But I'm gonna do this again on Thursday, so definitely come through. And it was actually interesting because I realized how to put it in the pin comment. I didn't know how to do that before. I kind
Are
of
you
just
kind
look
of
at
scared,
hands.
nervous? Because what if somebody acts up when they come on?
Well, I mean, that's why you have them there, and then I could just mute them and,
Okay, true.
eject
You can
them.
boot them out. You can boot them out.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that? Don't act up. Don't play no music in the background, guys. Either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not cool. Johnson says, I remember when Rafe used to be Lewis.
Luis on Passions. Yes,
Luis.
Rafe used to be Luis on Passions. I remember that. He was Luis
Wow.
on Passions. You know what they should do? They should bring back the woman Mackenzie. I think it's Mackenzie Westmore who plays Sheridan on Passions. They should bring her on Days, and she could be like a mysterious love interest, a woman from Rafe's past, and we'll get Luis and Sheridan all over again. Sometimes they do that in so they bring back like when the actor acts on another show, they bring another person on that show that used to be their love interest, like with Ava and Harris, how they were love interests on GH as
Yeah,
Kyler
I
and
got
Casey
you.
for the chemistry purposes.
Interesting. And I see Ethel and Medora. I haven't seen y'all in a while, so it's good to see y'all again. Now, I was sitting and ask you a question. If you can pick two soap operas to bring back, right? What would it be? What would be the two soap operas?
So what would they be? Okay, the two soap operas I would bring back. I think you already know one of them. You know, it's the one that that you weren't watching at the time. So one of them would be One Life to Live. That's a given. That's a given. They've gotten there. They solidified that space. The second soap that I have to bring back, it would be Passions. It would be Passions. Okay, Lakeisha, but yes, it would be Passions. It would be Passions for me. What about for you?
Well, for me, because apparently I didn't watch One Like Live, I would sit there and say I would say Port Charles because
Okay.
I did love Port Charles, and I think I would sit there and probably choose maybe either Passions or As the World Turns, just because I heard they were good soap operas.
How?
I never really
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I never really got a chance to watch them. And what's good, LaShawn? I never really got a chance to watch them. So
But why As Well Turns if you never watched it?
because it was a CBS soap, and I've always felt like the CBS soaps was like more for like an older crowd. But I'm liking Y&R, so it's like, all right, maybe let's try another CBS soap. Thank you again. Jonathan says maybe in flashback scenes they could have Mackenzie Westmore play Rafe, play girlfriend Emily. That's just I don't know who that is, but
Mackenzie Westmore is the one who played Sheridan on Passion. She was Luis's girlfriend on Passions.
okay.
Now I will say this.
So
I will say this. Like, if it, we all know One Night to Live is my number one I bring back. If it wouldn't, let's say if I didn't pick Passions, it would be then between Another World or Are My Children for them to bring back. But definitely One Life to Live because, like I said, like that show had just always had the best storylines. I was always hooked. That was the one show I felt like I was growing with. I was growing with this show, and I felt the same with All My Children. All My Children was a show I grew with. Passions was entertainment, but One Night to Live was a show I felt like I grew with the characters, which is that's why it has more of a sentimental feeling for me than the other soaps.
I guess here's the thing. If I had to sit there and pick another soap, I think I would probably pick All My Children. Thank you, Kyrie. So I appreciate that. I would sit there and pick All My Children just because I heard it was a good show. I saw bits and pieces of it. My parents used to sit there and watch it. So I'm very curious to sit there and see, just to kind of sit there and see it from their perspective, like what they liked about the show.
Right,
Um,
right. Yeah, because my mom, she started on All My Children. She started off on All My Children back in the
same thing, mom.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is, when I watch All My Children, it it felt like an after school special and a soap at the same time because like their storylines weren't like secret agents. It wasn't. It had like a dramatic feel to it, but it felt like almost like a Dawson's Creek kind of vibe to it as a soap. I don't know if that even makes sense what I'm saying right now. It wasn't as like it had the soapy elements and the glitziness, but it didn't have like secret agents or mafioso storylines um
Like
GH.
Sunny, GH,
Yeah,
and Sunny and stuff.
I want that to live, but it didn't have like the businessy kind of storylines or taking over your company like YNRBB. It didn't have those kind of storylines either. You know what I'm saying? So it was a because people there weren't a lot of storylines of like who was going to take over Chandler Enterprises. I didn't see that kind of storyline on All My Children. It was more so like, oh, like I had a baby and I didn't remember it from 18 years ago. Like All My Children was notorious for paternity storylines, which I guess rings true to their name, All My Children. But
So okay, so if you had to sit there and put all my children in a box, right? So or a category like Y&R is usually for the older people, GH is kind of more of a younger vibe or whatever. Where would all my children sit there and fit in?
okay, okay, perfect, perfect. All My Children to me would fit into a generations type of storyline. And let me explain what I mean by that because we could literally say that for every soap. But All My Children was literally was a soap that embodied like we're in a small town, we all know each other, and we're all connected. Like that was the one so I felt that. I don't feel that with GH. I feel like GH is like we live in this mid-sized city and I might see you from time to time at the hospital, I might catch you here and there. But it's not like we all live in this very small town, we're all connected. Because like the character, like even with JR and Bianca, they grew up with each other, they were friends, and we saw it play out on screen. It was just it was different. But to me, I would say Generations was like the theme of All My Children. Like Generations, family, paternities, stuff like that. That was really their theme. And I know we could say it for All Souls, but that was literally All My Children's theme. Like As the World Turns, their thing was professionals, like professionals, lawyers, and doctors. That was really their central theme. Guiding Light had more of a religious theme from earlier, and then they tried to bring it back later down the line. So that was more there. They had that religious undertone with Guiding Light. Days, like I said, was supernatural. Um, Passions was, I want to say the eccentric. Passions is like that wild cousin that your parents said, don't be like that cousin. Don't be like your cousin so and so. That's what was Passions. One Life to Live was diversity. GH was the mob. YNR was about business. B&B was about fashion. Um, and then Another World. Well, I want to get to Another World, but those are the 9 soaps. Those are the themes I would get to all of them. But All My Children's theme was Generations. And I just kind of went on a tangent again. But yeah.
No. It's not that. It's just. But would you sit there and say that All My Children is for more of an older crowd or a younger crowd, or just a mix?
Mm, I would say a younger crowd on My Children. Honestly, I'm gonna have to say a mix. I'm gonna have to say a mix for All My Children because, but honestly, because I watched it when I was 12. I was 12 years old when I watched All My Children. I was so hooked. When JR, and Erica was like, "You're not going nowhere, JR," and he's like, "Really?" And then he just like, she's like, "I went out the ocean, my bad, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would say it was more for a younger crowd because that was pretty much what a lot of ABC daytime was. But I definitely All My Children was for that younger crowd. But I also think the writers and producers knew that 1 o'clock, no young person was at home. Everybody was still in school. The earliest some people got out of school at 2 o'clock. So, what would you
Mm.
say? What would you say from your observation?
I mean, I felt like it was more of an older crowd, but that's just because of the characters that I saw. Like every time I saw a person, it was either Erica or Jesse or the woman that he was with,
Palmer,
stuff like
Adam,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So or Stewart. So it was like when I saw it, it for me it looked more of an older crowd. Johnson says Gabby shouldn't be killed off. They already killed off two of Rafe's siblings. They shouldn't dismantle the Hernandez family any further.
Because if you ask me, I think this is why GH survived because they were in the 3 o'clock time slot. So not only did older people got to watch it, younger people got to watch it, right? And I feel like GH really appealed to both crowds. I mean, what is your take on that though?
No, I would definitely sit there and say the same thing. But also, let me sit there and really, Shawn, who was in that, who was in, came in Tasha's room when I'm sitting there thinking it's Dante. Just to answer your question, I sit there and think it was Dante. That came in that's going to probably maybe save Sasha. But I feel like when it comes to GH, I felt like it was definitely a mix. But also, I felt like GH was in some ways kind of like men can get into it or they wouldn't feel as embarrassed. Like I did feel like I mean, granted they did the romance and stuff like that, but I did feel like there was and a lot of maybe energy was like, you know what, I can sit there and watch this. You got Sonny there, you got Jason there, you got Luke there, he's the rebel and stuff like that. I could sit there and watch this, okay. So I felt like it was more of a show that men can get into and not be embarrassed. Because that's literally what it comes down to.
That is so true. That is so. General Hoffman was the only soap where it was okay. You can't be as a man. It's like, yeah, did y'all catch All My Children the day? That didn't even sound right. It didn't sound right back in the day. That didn't even sound right. You know what I mean? It didn't even sound like, yeah, did y'all catch All My Children?
Did you catch Passions? Yo, did you watch Passions today? Yo, Passions was dope.
Yo, dog, did you watch us Bold and the Beautiful? It didn't roll off the top of your tongue back then. It didn't roll off the top of your tongue back then. But the thing is, like with GH2, is like GH, like I said, they they definitely, like I said, was that mix. So GH and Guiding Light came out at the same time. And I think the reason why GH won because, like I said, one, they had the Luke and Laura thing, and that literally carried them on for years and years through. And then they brought in Sonny and Carly. That was like their next generation Luke and Laura, which helped. They were at the 3 o'clock time slot. So not only could older people watch it, younger people that got home from school watched it. I watched it. You know, I only caught the last 15 minutes of One Life to Live. I know you only caught the last 30 seconds of One Life to Live, or else it'll still be
Of
boring at
course.
this point in time. But those factors, and on top of that, Guiding Light was on at the same time. But Guiding Light, if you all noticed, never even had like sexual scenes. They didn't really do a lot of that stuff. It was a PG soap. Them as returns were PG, so they never really did those kind of scenes at all. It was such a conservative show. They didn't do that kind of stuff. You know, it was conservative enough because it's still a soap, but they didn't do that kind of stuff on Guy Light or As Will Return. So it wasn't that edginess you saw, and they didn't do social storylines. So the social storylines really connected with the younger audience. On top of that, so I think all these things are the reason why GH is the last of the Mohicans. The remaining four of the soaps are still on.
Yeah, shit. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Um, wow, this is actually a lot of fun. This is actually a lot of fun. You know, it's always good. You know, whenever DC wants to sit there and come through, you know, he can come through. Um, I wish Kyrie's would have came on in, but you know, to give DC.
We'll catch him another time. We'll catch him another time.
Yes,
We'll catch him another
yes.
time though. But did you really
Listen,
watch
this
my children though? Real quick, did you really watch it?
no. I saw bits and pieces of it. I
You
also
weren't
saw
into
bits
it.
and pieces. I tried. I think it's just because like 3 was enough at that time for everything that I was there watching. So it was just pretty much I mean, One Life to Live in General Hospital, and then adding Port Charles. I feel like that was like, yeah, I'm kind of good at that point, you know?
One thing I want to touch on with Port Charles is that because I'm still watching Fate right now, I'm still watching the little sagas of Port Charles. That was one thing of Port Charles and was genius was that it was a soap, and they connected the storylines, all the different ones that had Fate, Gift, whatever, like all the storylines connected. But what's good thing is that if someone watching the show for the first time came into one of those storyline arcs, it would be fine because they wrote it in a way where it's almost like it's a standalone. It stands alone on its own, but it's still connected to everything else. If you watched all of them at the same time, and that was
Hmm.
genius. That was genius.
Like, what do you just think on?
What
You,
telenovelas?
you, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like telenovelas. So it's like all of them. Yeah, they were like it's kind of like telenovelas, like all their own storyline arcs. But at the same time, all of them are all still connected at the same time. So it's like if you were watching from the, so it's not like the characters, their histories changed because it was a new story. They were still the same characters, but it's like if new viewers dropped on in to that, like let's say if it was Desire, they dropped in Desire, they didn't have to see or Fate or what was the other one, Time in the Bottle. They didn't have to see those to understand Desire, right? They could just
That's
pop on
true.
Desire and they would make sense. And I think that's the problem with soaps is like they want new viewers, yeah, which they need them, but like when new viewers watching the show, they need stuff explained to them. And there's no reason why a viewer should have to wait 6 months before finding out two people in a scene they've been seeing over and over again are brother and sister. Why do I have to wait 6 months? I'm not saying you have to tell us every scene that, hey, brother, hey, sis, but like, you need explanations. Like, Y&R took me 6 months to know who everybody was. Whereas All My Children, it took me maybe like a week or two to 2 to 3 weeks to kind of get a gist
What
of who everyone was.
what about Days, though?
Days, let's see on days, I want to say, okay, days it took me quicker because there was the internet at that time. So there was the internet. Days took me quicker. But I'm just saying for new viewers, like I think they get. I think the way I look at it, because if I was a new viewer and I didn't know nothing about soaps, I'd probably feel intimidated going into a show that's been on for 30, 40 years. And I'm wondering, am I going to be able to keep up with this? Am I going to catch on? Am I going to be able to drop in and just come in with these storylines, which you should be able to? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know the writers these days, they create that space for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. Um, I do get that. Hmm. Is
Because
there a
Port Charles did
solution
that for me. Go ahead.
I mean, is there a solution? Well, all right. So explain that again, because I'm not gonna lie. I did get kind of
Confused?
yeah.
Okay, so the thing is with soaps, like I said, if they've been on for so many years, I feel like the writing isn't written in a way where a new viewer can just drop in and merge and get to know these characters without it being this long drawn out process. Because like I said, when I first started watching Y&R, It took me 6 months to know who was related to who was what, who was what. And I feel like if they want to draw in new reviewers, they have to bring the writing in a way where you don't have to do that. For example, with Port Charles had a telenovela format, like I said before. You had Time in a Bottle, and then after Time in a Bottle, it was Fate. But the thing is, you didn't have to watch Time in a Bottle to understand Fate. You see what I'm saying? But if
I
you
get
just
that part,
right,
but you know, when you sit there and say it doesn't catch up new viewers, like the thing for me that kind of annoys me is that they literally would sit there and talk about the same thing just to catch somebody up. So, like, let's say people were, it's Wednesday's episode, whatever. They'll sit there and tell you, oh, so you remember when this happened this day, and I was on Tuesday. So you remember what happened when this happened, and I was on Monday. So I guess,
okay, I
like, for
see.
me, sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it starts to annoy me because it's like, damn, can't they just put like a little bubble, like a little comic book bubble, like underneath, sit there and kind of catch somebody who's like new, as opposed to just reciting the same thing that I already saw on Monday. But I understand because somebody's new is watching on Wednesday, they need to sit there and get caught up. You know what I'm saying?
But okay, and you know what? And I know which soap you're talking about when you say that. You're talking about soaps like Y&R, right? When you say
I'm
that,
talking
right?
about, I have to tell you, no, I'm talking about, no, actually talking about all of them.
Okay, because I feel like because I thought you were talking about Y&R, because I know Y&R they talk
Why
about
not?
a lot of nothing.
Well, why not? They do little flashback names now, so that does help out. But I'm talking about pretty much like the rest of them now.
Right, right, right. Okay, actually, you make a good point. So you make a good point of that. A good point. Because I'm just always thinking, like, why can't they garner new viewers? I know that obviously no one's staying at home in the afternoon to watch TV anymore, and streaming is just where it's at. But it's like, which is why I understand why soaps have to do things like stunt casting, like bring on celebrities on the show and to play roles and stuff, because that's how you're gonna bring new viewers and new fan bases in. Um, and it just makes sense to do that. Carvalotti understood how to do that. That's why on One Life to Live, he had Timbaland, he had One Republic, he had Snoop Dogg, he had Kourtney Kardashian. That's what you had to do. I mean, the problem was that One Life to Live was so far gone that it wasn't gonna save them at that point. You know what I mean? But like I said, in terms of the storylines, I just sometimes, well, and like I said, I guess I didn't notice that as much because I feel like when I'm watching the show, I'm like, I don't ever hear them ever really explain the relationships between who's who and what's what. And I understand you can only do that so many times. Okay, Ethel just said flashbacks are lazy writing. But Ethel, we need more flashbacks. Like they've got like these shows have like 50 years of material, and it's like they'll do like one flashback a year. It feels like, you know. But anyways, what I was saying is that like I said, I wish writers would write in that way where newer viewers can feel more introduced. Because like I said, with Port Charles, I feel that way. Like I didn't watch Port Charles till like what maybe a year or two ago. Believe it or not, with Port Charles, yeah, I just realized I'm watching it, but I can get into it. I'll be able to get into it, and it's the way they write it. So
Hmm, interesting. Yeah, I guess I can see your point of view. I mean, the bottom line is that they need new viewers. That's just what it comes down to. They need new viewers. Because like I said, Days is now on streaming. Um, they weren't getting new viewers. Their ratings wasn't doing really that great, but they knew that they actually had a dedicated fan base that's been going for years. So it's like it wasn't like the show was not salvageable. You know, they just had to find a way to make it work within the budget because they couldn't keep it on network television anymore.
right,
GH, they still got it, but I'm not one of the people that really sit there and check the ratings, so I have no idea how far they slipped off and stuff like that. I just know with GH a lot of times because Spider Quick was like Days wasn't really all that today, and like Days is very consistent, right? GH can be very up and down. That's one of the things that annoys me about GH because one day GH be really great, next day it's a filler. Like I mean, legit a filler. So it's like they're very up and down. At least with Days, it's very consistent. Even if it's not super amazing, it doesn't feel like it's super boring either. It's like it's even if it's decent, I'm cool with it. You know?
can I ask you a question though? Then out of all the four soaps, which ones has the best writing? Not storylines, but writing. Meaning the scenes, the dialogue with the characters, the nuances. In your opinion?
I'd say Days.
Okay.
I'll say Days.
Because for me,
You?
I oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's that you.
For me, I would probably say I think Days has the best storylines, but in terms of the best writing, I actually got to give it to YNR for the best writing. Days has the best storylines. Um, but like even when I was watching the scene with Gwen and Maddie, not Maddie, it's Leo, Gwen and Leo. Um, that was actually a very good written, well written scene. But there's some scenes on Days that just fall flat for me. Like especially when people get shot on Days, it feels comical. Like I don't like take it seriously, don't take it as serious.
Like Dimitri.
Yeah, like it felt like it felt comical, like something that happened on Passion, but it didn't feel serious. Like when someone gets shot on GH, it feels serious. When someone gets shot on YNR, it feels serious. Someone gets shot on BB, it feels serious. But on Days, it's like, yeah, I just shot him. Oh, nice shot, mom. Like they'll say something like that. Like that just kills the whole scene. Like, it just kills the whole seriousness of the scene. You know what I'm talking about? Days does stuff like that, right?
I know what you're talking about.
It literally kills like the whole scene. Like even when Gwen was confronting Leo, and she's like, "Yeah, you have your big magic, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Yeah, but like me and Dimitri love each other, and he's also easy on the eyes." And it's like that just killed the seriousness of the scene.
Yeah, I felt the exact same way. I'm sitting there looking at Ethel's comment towards you, DC.
I saw that too.
I saw that.
Because Ethel was saying how like I was talking about how like they have flashbacks, and she's like, "Yeah, DC flashbacks from years ago, not 2 days ago." Because White Art's probably do a lot of flashbacks, which I like the way they're doing it with the smoke screen and stuff. Like, well, this is nice.
And the black and white and everything like that. Yes, they're stepping up. They're stepping up. I definitely got to think give YNR that they're definitely stepping up.
Yeah.
I just in general, I just hope that they do get some new people, some new viewers and stuff like that, because soaps they're different from every other form of media in a lot of ways. They're 5 days a week. There's always a new episode. A lot of shows usually get their building blocks in some form of way from these soap operas. Even a lot of the superhero TV shows or whatever that we have now, they always have soap opera elements in there.
Yeah.
So just even as a fan who watched it before I even started doing this whole YouTube thing, I need them to still go. I'll sit there and say that.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I would say. I feel like with the soaps, like when they're, like I said, when they're just written so well. Because I said Days always bring the storylines, but the writing, the writing is good. But like I said, it's just those things that they do in those certain scenes that take away from the seriousness of it. Because even when Gwen was confronting Leo, it was reminding me of Maureen and Lillian on Guiding Light with the whole "you slept with my husband." But that scene was so serious from the music, from the nuances. But when Gwen is like, "You slept with Dimitri," it's like, yeah, I mean, but he's kind of cute. Can you bite me? I mean, he didn't say that, but that sounds like something Leo would say in the scene.
Yeah,
the seriousness of it. It's like, oh, okay, like it kills it. It kills it. And that's stuff I don't like they do in Days. I wish they could just reduce that back a little bit, like dial that back just a little bit.
Because it does come across as very cringy, and I can see that
a little bit, and it just takes like it takes away from the seriousness of it, or Talia, Talia's actually she was doing pretty good, but just a little eye, she made like, oh my god,
yeah, no.
I don't know if you noticed that, Talia, right?
Yeah, and I think that was part of the reason I was like, sis, can you just stop crying? Like just because you keep doing that, like not even just because it's just become unnecessary, just because you're doing that. Right. The last thing I would sit there and say is quite quick is like I hate how Days have no previews for the next day because he's used to the GH formula of at the end of the episode there's a preview.
They do? Oh, I watch it on Hulu, so I never see that anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, when you watch it on Hulu, yeah, I've noticed that too. But when you're watching on regular, like just regular TV,
doesn't do that either, though, right? Why aren't they do? Only for the end of the week.
The only one that does previews every day is GH, and they'll do like a little preview for the week. I think sometimes they do it on Saturdays or Sundays. They have a preview, a general overall promo. Yeah. But
see, Spikewick has to understand, like Spikewick. To be honest with you, like that's how soaps were originally built. Soaps never had previews for the next day. That was something new that like came into the 2000s. That wasn't really a thing for soaps, to be honest. So they're going back to the roots by doing that. But go ahead.
No. But I get that though. Like he's used to that because when when you watch and stuff like that. So watching on another show, it's like there's no previews. What's going on, guys?
But
Because I
didn't you
remember
that though? Go ahead.
No, I remember for GH, it was 1 year that they didn't show previews at the end of the episode, and I remember the first time I was like, okay, I guess this may be a typo. And then the next day I was like, y'all just forgetting something, and it was weird for like a whole year. They didn't do previews. I'm just like, the hell are y'all doing? It was just weird. It was just weird.
Yeah, because there was
So I
a
get
time
it.
where there was a time where all the soaps did previews except for B&B. B&B never did. B&B did previews like once every like 5 years, and it was like a rarity. But like there was a year they all did it, and this is like the early 2000, like 2006, that era. They all did previews. Even like on GH, they'll be like on the next GH, and then show the scenes. They're like weekdays on ABC, weeknights on SoapNet. You remember that?
Yes, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, of course. Listen, when you sit there and say SoapNet, you know I remember.
So I didn't know that GH was still doing. I mean, that makes sense by watching Hulu, and Hulu doesn't show that for whatever weird
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, no. It is weird. I don't watch it too much on what you call it anymore, just because I got a cable box. But
Ooh,
yeah.
excuse me. Wow.
Hey, listen, I had to sit there. I had to sit there and put out these previews. I had to sit there and put out these reviews earlier. So,
What
and
about
since
that
they,
site that posted for free though?
huh?
What about that site
Oh,
that was? Yeah,
yeah,
well,
they
yeah,
they
that's not
stopped it.
reliable. That's not reliable. I
Well,
get it. It's not
also,
reliable.
also, no, they stopped it on that site. That's the reason why I had a cable box. Yeah.
Are you talking about the site that starts with a D, ends with an M? I can't say the
Yep.
name. People calling up my spot.
Yeah. Yep.
Dang. See, that's why we can't tell y'all nothing. Because if we would have told y'all, that probably would have been gone sooner than later. So we had it for a little while,
But I mean, it was good though because it was like eventually that was going to stop, and I was going to have to get a cable box anyway. So
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Well, I'm not gonna keep you for too long out here. I know you said you got to go.
no,
I'm not keep you too long.
no, this was actually a lot of fun though. This was a lot of fun. You know how it is when we start talking. It just
Exactly.
And you really honestly tell you, we was probably just going to sit there and probably mostly talk about this stuff anyway, unless it was some sort of crazy drama that me and Hess didn't talk about. But this is usually our conversation before the end of the night anyway.
Right.
But yeah, no, listen, I want to thank you all for joining. This is a lot of fun. Stay safe. I will see y'all back tomorrow. And Thursday is going to be another video call in, so I definitely want people to come through, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Let's thank DC for coming through.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Always great. We will see y'all in our respective channels, and when we do another collab.
So, guys, on the next one.
Laters.